We enjoy being a part of our local heritage and supporting the Berkeley County Youth Fair. You can trust us to protect what matters most to you, Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies. Go to FMIWV.com.
TV10 is proud to broadcast the 75th Annual Berkeley County Youth Fair. We'd like to thank all of the participants for their hard work and dedication. Please enjoy the 2022 Berkeley County Youth Fair.
We're live here at the Berkeley County Youth Fairgrounds. Surprisingly, we didn't get washed out. We did just weather a storm, though, didn't we, Mike?
We did. That we did.
Well, I'm Mary Beth Blair, and I'll be your host all evening. We're starting to wind down the second half of the week. We only have 3 more days of the Berkeley County Youth Fair. The 75th anniversary has been amazing so far, and we have a full lineup tonight. Mikey Withrow is going to be with me most of this evening, I think, hopefully all evening.
All evening.
We're going to bring you some great events that are happening indoors. Mikey, what do you know is getting ready to happen inside that we're going to cover tonight?
So one of my favorite events, I know the rain came back, it got a little bit loud.
You might hear that, but
I would say one of my favorite events, really, that is kind of the culmination of our week, is our round robin showmanship.
I'm looking forward to that as well.
It is the best of the best out of each species that come back to represent their individual barn in kind of a good old-fashioned showdown.
And what's neat about it, I learned last year and the year before, was just the aspect of, like you said, they're representing their barn, but they also have to compete with other animals, all 4 animals.
They are fully in motion during that whole time. And it's one of those things where you truly have to have all the skills of all the species to be able to pull it off.
Okay. Now, will this rain impact it at all?
No.
Will the animals be disturbed at all?
Not at all.
No.
A lot of show stock, once you get them around the sounds of a barn, and once you take them to a few jackpots, they kind of get used to noises like around there.
Okay.
So it's all kind of different in the end. How that how you prepare for any situation like this.
Okay.
You never know if there's going to be a generator. You never know if there's going to be a gate that falls. Yes, the animal's going to spook, but at the end of the day, you've worked with that animal so much.
Right.
And that's kind of my favorite part. So I know Mary Beth introduced me. My favorite part is being able to introduce this young lady next to me.
I was waiting until Mike got her in the camera.
So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Reese Barrett. Reese has shown, I believe, just about every single thing that walks on 4 legs. I will go ahead and say that. But she will be participating this year. And what species are you representing? I believe she's representing sheep.
Can we hear Reese?
I would say she can't hear you right now.
Let's make sure we can hear her first. I didn't hear her, so I want to.
So she is representing sheep. And what all did you show this week?
So I've shown. Sorry, I'm a little sick. I've shown beef so far, and I got reserve champion showman in that. I've shown swine, and I've got reserve champion in that as well. But I'm actually representing the lamb barn. I got grand overall showman, so I'll be going in for round robin showmanship representing the sheep.
So what is your, if you had to pick one and stick with it, what is your favorite species to show?
That's a tough one. I've been showing lambs the longest.
Okay.
My parents weren't comfortable giving me a beef cow to start with, just because I was so young and little.
And we see that a lot in 4-H.
Yeah.
So
it's very common.
Our 9 through 12-year-olds, usually their first animal, goat, lamb, or hog.
Okay, or a hog, yes.
My heart is with steers always. I just feel like you bond with them longer. So they're a more extensive project.
Sure.
So you get more of a connection out of them, but it's probably a tie between lambs and beef.
So you don't show hogs at all?
I do show hogs,
Oh,
yes.
you do? Okay.
I have shown a goat as well. I didn't show one this year.
I noticed on the sales sheet that, and I noticed this the past 2 years, there's always so many more of them than there are of any other species. Why is that?
So in my eyes, there's a really great return of investment on the swine project.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
For a couple $100, you can get a really nice barrow or gilt. And then for a couple more $100, you can feed it out to a really nice product.
Okay. And then you hopefully will weigh in and
Yes.
be able to resell.
Got to
and
weigh
market.
225. We had some. When you start hitting that 223, 220 number, you wish that you could just put 1 foot on the scale for that kid. But, we play by the rules. It's always, there's always a couple. But something very unique that we do is we let them put up private treaty signs on Friday.
Okay.
So it doesn't necessarily go through the fair, but if someone came through the barn and they wanted to buy, that pig for a project, they could make a deal with that exhibitor directly.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it takes the youth fair part of it out, but it still gives them that avenue to connect with some
And
people.
is that primarily for those who don't make
Yes,
weight?
strictly for underweights and everyweights.
I didn't know that. Okay.
We're
That's
actually
good to
very
know.
grateful because there's been a time or two where my stuff hasn't made weight, and most fairs won't let you do that.
Yeah.
So it's really
Wow.
great that this fair does.
So is that something you let the buyers know, or they just know in general?
It's kind of the hidden secret of the fair. As they walk around, you see the signs.
And I would assume that if you are one of those exhibitors, you're letting people know
Yes.
that you know that they might come in and
It's
do
all
that.
about the marketing. And, being able to show that product, and that's something that Reese and her entire family does extremely well.
Uh-huh.
They are such huge advocates for not only the livestock that they bring,
Right.
but I've seen Reese and Reagan and Taylor even come through these programs.
Right.
And, now they're to the age where they are the ones that are taking that extra step.
Mm-hmm.
Just the other night, we hang out in the hog barn after everybody starts to leave. And Reese was voluntarily helping all these kids.
Uh-huh.
Not that she had to. The Jenkins were standing there. There were some other people. But, these kids are coming up to be like, hey, can you show me? Hey, can you teach me this? And these older showmen, and Reese does a phenomenal job of being the advocate for it. They jump in head first, and they're not afraid to get that hands-on kind of knowledge and transfer it to it. So, Reese, what's your biggest set of advice to give to younger showmen?
Yeah, that's
Never
good.
be afraid to ask for help.
That's
It might be scary or you might feel embarrassed, but asking for help is really what set me and my siblings over. We were good showmen, but now we've become great because we asked for that help.
Okay. And when you say ask for help, or did you ask people to work with you in the ring or help you with feeding and knowing what the
kind
best
of
ways
both.
are? Uh-huh.
We decided as a family, we're going to go to a few jackpots over the summer
Okay.
just to get a few practices in before the fair.
Okay.
Get your animals comfortable with going to places and getting that ring feel.
Uh-huh.
Then we met some friends at jackpots, and they were willing to help with feeding and kind of get us in a routine for show day, which we thought was just astronomical because we would just take them straight in the ring from the pen.
Right.
So just finding somebody in the industry who can really help you, take that next step and become competitive.
Takes you to that next level.
Absolutely.
What do you feel is the most important piece that, as a showman and getting ready for the round robin to represent the lamb barn, what is the single piece of pride that you're bringing in?
I think it's really special that I get to represent the sheep barn. My sister got to represent the sheep barn last year, and then I'm also competing against my other sister this year. So it kind of just feels like it's come whole circle.
Yes.
You start from the bottom and you work your way up. So probably just knowing how much time and effort I've put into this, it's pretty special.
No, absolutely. All right, I'm going to ask you the $1 million question. I get asked these kinds of questions all the time.
Yeah.
Who's the best showman in your family?
Uh-oh.
Ooh, this is a tough one.
I saw the eyes ugh.
I think we all excel in different areas.
That's a good answer. Yeah.
She's going to be a politician. I
Come
can already
on.
tell.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
That's right. Yeah.
Taylor, I think, grasped onto it a little quicker than Reagan and I did. I actually took a year off showing lambs last year because I didn't think it was for me anymore. And then I watched them do so well, and I was like, I need to get back into it.
Wow.
So I think we all just have different qualities that make us great, but I think Taylor is who Reagan and I look up to the most.
Oh, that's awesome.
Having that kind of internal, I've seen all three of you compete against each other. Do you think it makes you better showmen having that good competition kind of pushing you forward?
I'm not going to lie, the car ride home gets a little scary. But
quiet conversations on the way home.
Yeah.
we're all really happy for each other at the end of the day, and we know our main goal is just to do as well as the last one did the next time around.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and that's good. I'm sure in any family situation, no matter how close you are, a competition is a competition. You wouldn't be good competitors if it didn't hurt a little bit,
exactly.
right? If you didn't feel that
it's
pain.
It's the good kind of sting.
But you love each other, so you get back in the ring and compete more, and it's probably fun. You know, I'm sure you all exchange bragging rights quite a bit between the is it 3 or 4 of you with
3.
your cousin? Okay, and it's the 2 sisters and then cousin. Right, okay. So that is going to – so tonight we're going to see you in the ring, and your sister is doing what?
Swine. She's representing the swine barn.
Okay. And then who are the other showmen we're going to see tonight?
So Kelsey Payne got represented for the dairy barn, and then Garrett Glassford is representing the goat barn, and then Andrew Bohr is representing the beef barn.
Okay.
We're actually calling it the Battle of the Besties because we're all so close.
Oh, my gosh.
It'll be a good showdown.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we're really looking forward to that, in which that's starting at 6, right?
Yes.
Now, what are you going to do in preparation for that? Do you, get in, this mindset, or do you go back and do anything with your animals? I mean, you're not showing your animals in this.
No, so the animals are prepped for them.
So it's all you. Yeah. So what are you doing to get ready?
I'm going to go through each species in my mind and be like, okay, dairy, I need to slow down when I walk.
Okay.
Make sure I'm going backwards because that's hard for me.
Uh-huh.
Swine, I just got to remember to drive towards the judge and then back and forth, kind of make a triangle when you're walking. And then beef and lambs I'm pretty confident about. Goats is where it's going to get a little interesting. I haven't shown a goat all year. I did practice in the dairy barn last night when they were walking around, so we'll see.
And for you, what do you feel is the most difficult animal to work with?
Goats and sheep. They're very difficult and stubborn.
Yeah. I'd agree with goats.
Really?
It was never my forte.
It's so funny because of all the animals, when you go through the barns, they're the most friendly.
Yes.
And Lexi, every time we come down to the fair, she's like, Mom, we have to go see the goats before you go.
They need the most attention. That's the problem. They need the most attention.
They're like fun pets almost. It's almost like someone said equated. It's like a dog.
It is.
But we're going to get ready here in a second. We'll let you go get ready and get your mindset ready, and we'll be watching you and cheering everyone on here in a little bit. We're going to come back after a break, and we're getting ready right now for another fun competition, which is the watermelon eating contest. Yep. And that's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll see what kind of strategies these kids come up with. Hopefully they've all braved the weather, and they're going to head into the barn. It's stopped raining, in case you're wondering. Head down. Now it's cool. You don't have to fight the 90-degree weather. It's definitely, there's a breeze. It's going to be a great evening at the fair. So we'll be back after these messages in 3 minutes from our sponsors.
A reputation for caring, a legacy of service. At Brown Funeral Homes and Cremations, it's been our story since 1880. A family-owned business, we support the needs and wishes of families. We offer traditional services, as well as many options for cremation, customized remembrances, and pre-planning. Brown Funeral Homes and Cremations retains its family atmosphere and stays true to its roots. Contact us for advanced planning, or at your time of loss. We're here when you need us.
When will I be able to retire? How do I make the most of the money I have? How do I leave a lasting legacy to my loved ones? I'm Philip McCoy, financial advisor with the Mirius Group, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services Incorporated. Call us today at 304-263-4343 to help you make the most of your financial future. Our office is located at 1270 Winchester Avenue, Martinsburg, West Virginia.
Ameriprise Financial Services Incorporated, member FINRA and SIPC.
Most insurance companies see you as a claim number. Most law firms see you as a case file. When their top priority is their bottom line, you only get a fraction of the attention that you deserve. At the law firm of Burke, Schultz, Harmon & Jenkinson, it's personal. We listen to our clients to see the whole picture, because every part of you is important. For a team built on relationships and results, call Burke, Schultz, Harmon & Jenkinson at 304-LAWYERS. Or visit us at burkeandschultz.com.
Before the invitations and the dress, the flowers, cake, candles, or vows, there was an answer to a question proposed with a ring.
Bechtel Jewelers knows that an important part of your wedding happens before the I-do's. We're a diamond store with an engagement and bridal jewelry selection that's both exciting and accessible.
On the big day, there's everything else, and there's the ring. Make sure you get this one right at Bechtel Jewelers in Inwood.
Would you want your child to receive quality education in an environment that nurtures their unique and God-given gifts?
We have some exciting news for you. Airborne Christian Academy is opening August 30th and is accepting applications from pre-K to 8th grade.
Christian education has never been more important, and we want to partner with you in raising a generation that remains true to their faith.
Check out all the details at airborne.school. That's airborne.school.
With 4 new car dealerships and 4 used car dealerships in 3 states, Parsons is the largest used car and fastest growing new car dealer in the tri-state area. Take Parsons Ford with huge savings on hundreds of new Fords, financing from 0%, Parsons' goal of financing for all, and Parsons' famous above-market trade-in allowances that help make Parsons #1 for used cars too. See why so many won't buy anywhere but Parsons Ford in Martinsburg. We became #1 by making you #1 first. Parsons.
TV10 is proud to broadcast the 75th Annual Berkeley County Youth Fair. We'd like to thank all of the participants for their hard work and dedication. Please enjoy the 2022.
Yeah, and if you've never gone in and looked inside the barns, it's always neat to see the way they make their signage for their animals, and I love that part, just to see the personality for each one of the kids who bring their animals down.
And that barn culture creates such an inviting, welcoming environment. I think a lot of times we get caught up in, they're like, oh, it's another cow, oh, it's another sheep.
Yeah.
There's such an amazing culture that is built that is so close to camp.
Yeah.
A lot of these kids have been through a camp this past year.
Right.
And this might be the first time they're able to spend any more amount of time together.
Speaking of camps, did you just bring them back this year? You didn't have them for 2 years, right? Or did you have it last year?
So we did not have it last year.
Okay,
or
the year before?
Some smaller based pod camps. And it was only 20 members at a time.
But this year you full steam ahead?
We were back full steam ahead.
Okay.
We had 107 older members, 103 intermediate, and 143 younger.
When we interviewed Julie Snyder last night, she was talking about how she was at 4-H camp for 4 weeks in a row,
yes, ma'am.
whether participating or as a leader. And she was saying how that kind of put her behind a little bit in her practicing of her animal. And her steer had just changed so much when she got back that she had to really put in the time.
Yes, and having that investment and having that level of involvement, it truly does rotate what these kids are doing.
Yeah.
A lot of people are given that amount of time to make sure that these things are successful. And it's something like a steer, a steer, if it has an off month, can lose 80 pounds.
Wow, that
makes
a big difference. And being
able to regain that and then still make weight. What these kids go through and some of the things that they have to face. We were just talking, we've had pigs that have, gotten, scours or, they ended up with worms or whatever it is, and they can't put on weight for such a long period of time.
Right.
That once you do start putting on that weight, a lot of people don't realize a pig can gain 2.25 or 2.5 pounds per day.
Wow.
So if you know and that's why knowing these feed supplements, like we talked about the other night during the Skillathon, is so important.
Right.
Because knowing that protein percentage and the fat percentage and how it all affects, that truly can mean the difference of making weight or missing it by 2 pounds, 3 pounds.
Sure. And I guess if they are knowledgeable enough, they could alter the feeding plan to either help slow down the weight gaining or increase the weight gaining. So that's interesting.
And a lot of it's knowing that animal back and forth well enough to know, hey, where is this animal going to fill out? Do I have a steer that's going to look perfect at 1250, or am I going to have to put 1,400 pounds on it?
And we're talking about weights, and obviously that's very important to most of the kids who are showing down here because they want to get a market animal that they can get a return on their investment, which that will take place tomorrow. So we haven't talked a whole lot, just a little bit here and there about livestock, but now the lists have been posted. If you're watching this and you're wondering what there is going to be to bid on tomorrow night and you want to get your game plan, get your bid watch list, go ahead and check that out on Facebook, on the BCYF Facebook page. And we have posted all 4 species that will be market animals tomorrow night, so you could look through that. You can maybe highlight whoever you're really, interested in. Some people don't need that. They're just going to come and bid. And
I will be the first to admit. So I take care of handling making that order.
Okay, yeah.
And there is one mistake, and I just got a message about it. So if you are interested in buying a pig, Ella Collis is the grand lightweight hog.
Okay.
She will sell first after the grand champions.
Okay.
So,
well, if you make that change.
I know. I'm working on it.
The only problem with that is, look, all the kids are there.
I know. This is what they do. They torture me.
They are torturing you. Then I have to take that whole post down. So if anybody has shared it, then we'll just have to put a footnote. So
I will say we're going to have a guest star jump in real quick.
Yeah, let's do it. We're going to just be really flexible tonight. If we see somebody that needs to be interviewed, we're going to grab them and bring them on the air, because we just want you guys at home to meet people, learn about the heart and soul behind the fair. And so here, we've grabbed one.
I'll say we just grabbed Miss Hunter Dunham. She was the fourth runner-up to Berkeley County Youth Fair.
Yes,
I'll say we literally just snagged her off ringside.
Yep.
Hunter, what is the best advice you would give to youth who are interested in getting involved at the Berkeley County Youth Fair?
My best advice would be to ask somebody who's already in it, and they can help you along the way. Because this year I had the honor of helping someone who's never done 4-H or anything in the agriculture field before. I got to help them show a pig and learn how to take care of it and all that sort of stuff.
That's great.
What do you think is the importance of having these opportunities? What does it mean? What does it teach? What does it prepare them for the future?
It prepares you with the skills of leadership and responsibility for your life. Being responsible for an animal is kind of like having a little family or a kid, because you have to take care of them.
Right.
You can't just leave them. You have to take care of them every day.
Yeah. How does, Mikey, I'll ask you this question because it goes to promotion of the organization itself of 4-H. Nowadays I feel like everything is so hyper awareness of or focused on competitive traveling sports and competitions. I mean, of all kinds. I mean,
Absolutely.
It could be from cheer to dance to which all those are considered really sporting
100%.
too. But so you have a lot of focus on that, and a lot of parents seeing that, they feel like they have to put their kids in that if they want any chance, even in high school or beyond in college, they have to be in those type of competitive organizations. And I wonder if it causes 4-H to be passed up, or maybe someone doesn't look at that as, how do you go about promoting and getting word out to parents who don't have kids involved? What do you do to focus on that?
I think the biggest thing that we can do, and Hunter would agree with this, I'm sure, to be real with them.
Okay.
A lot of times they think that there's some, unknown wild cost that comes associated with this. 4-H FFA, FFA has dues. Boys and Girl Scouts, they do have some things that you have to pay for. But for the most part, all of these are free organizations to join.
Okay.
And being able to, you brought up, what do they do? Some of them play competitive sports, playing baseball, playing football, cheer. I would say and I have to be very particular in the way I say this, our showmen are athletes.
Oh, yes.
They have one of the best partners that they have to work with.
Absolutely.
We talk about all these independence things and building a team.
Sure.
If people would truly look at the amount of effort and knowledge and skill and pure exhaustion it takes.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had some of these kids, and Hunter knows this, wearing her FFA jacket. If you spend 4 hours in that ring, you're drenched.
And it's been hot this week.
It's
been really warm, and I know some of the kids have experienced, dehydration and exhaustion, and they're so focused on what they're doing and wanting to have a good, successful run here that they kind of forget about all those things of the parents nagging them about hydration.
100%. And it's making sure, and I would say a lot of times fair families, we always say 4-H families and fair families are forever. But it's very true. So that's how and even now, I have been through this program enough that I potentially showed with these kids when they were 9.
Wow.
So we have grown up as a whole group, as an organization, to where you kind of pass that torch on. And, a lot of times I sit and reflect on that. Hunter, what do you want to do when you grow up?
I want to be a 4-H extension agent.
So it's
she wants your job.
She wants my job. I just told her she can have
for you.
So she's gunning for it. I'm getting it ready for
Yeah.
it. But being able to have this kind of generational passed him. It's teaching that next generation, how do you raise a hog? How do you raise a steer?
Yes.
How do you do all these different components that ensure that the next 75 years of the Berkeley County Youth Fair are already set.
Right.
And, this is a perfect example for it. So Hunter has been going above and beyond. She's came and helped plan stuff for camp. She's completed, numerous different activities to get camp in motion.
Okay.
Having this type of member is so invaluable because you can see all of the different avenues. And I hope Hunter lives out her dream and becomes an extension agent. But more importantly, I think if you look at the skill set that all of our members are learning while they're down here showing and exhibiting, it truly allows them to find that passion and kind of turn it in a creative way, whichever it may be.
That's awesome. I mean, I totally 100% agree with, the little emoji, 100% with underlined.
Yes.
I was thinking of that when you said that about them being athletes. 100%, what they're doing and the discipline behind what you as a showman, are doing is absolutely equates to what we see in the traveling, sports arena. And I just feel like, I guess for me growing up, and I think about my mom being in the concession stand all these years, and I know she's watching at home. I think, I have no idea why I never did 4-H. My sister did 4-H. She actually competed in the
your mom is like my biggest fan. Like, I love it. I love it.
So we have an argument. We have a beef to pick with her. Why didn't she put me in 4-H?
I know.
I don't know. I think I was probably doing a million other things. Who knows? But
I think this is one of those organizations that, and we've seen this a lot, it's the come and go kind of effect.
Right.
4-H and FFA, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Boys and Girls Club, any of them, we appreciate you so much with the time that you give us.
Okay.
We're not envious, they left.
Right.
We're here regardless. So if you need to go do something else for a little bit and come back to us, or a lot of times we'll have members that spent 4, 5, 6 years with us, then went and maybe they did sports, or maybe, we talked to Brenna about bowling. Shout out to her. She was just named 6th out of 51 nationally.
Incredible.
So
that's awesome.
Huge accomplishments.
Yeah.
But, we encourage them, if that's their passion, go explore it.
Yeah.
And then if they do have something that they want to come back and offer, come back and be a judge. Come back and be a chairperson. Be something that makes a difference.
Right.
We're all about building passion. And I think that's the
Absolutely.
biggest thing. And you'll see it, we talk about the Lintons, we talk about the Millers. Dunham's is another one. I know Hunter's sitting here. But these families that have been around for decades and, their parents showed, their grandparents showed, and uncles. I can look out here right now and count probably 20 different families that have been involved in the Berkeley County Youth Fair.
Yeah.
I'm doing a rough count. There are 12 families that I can say have been here for over 3 generations.
That is amazing.
And it's hard to walk into an arena of any type, any stature, and be able to say, there's Julie Boyard. Her maiden name's Orr. She showed beef. Now Grant is showing beef. Isabel's showing beef. Being able to put all of that in motion. And then we have people who don't even have kids. So like Marcia and Brittany are setting up for the contest. They no longer have anyone showing, but they still have that dedication to come. Right in front of us, Jeff Ryman, of course, Carly Gall's dad.
Right.
They are in multiple generations now of participating in the Berkeley County Youth Fair. But I think one thing that you'll all see is the reason why are they doing it.
Yes.
And I think at the end of the day, when you boil it down, when you get it down to the beef of the integrity of the organization, it's for these kids.
Right.
And to have this many caring adults develop this amount of time, effort, and opportunities for kids, it's kind of a lost art.
Yes.
And they do it flawlessly.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I posted, Shelly sent me a couple pictures last night of a group of them that did a photograph in here, some of those who have aged out.
Absolutely.
And I think I put on that picture, even though you've aged out of exhibiting, you don't age out of the youth
you don't
fair.
ever age out
and
of the fair.
So you could see just the camaraderie. It was like a reunion, a class reunion. So I love seeing those pictures. We're going to take a 3-minute break and come back with the watermelon eating contest. Thank you for joining us and sharing a little bit about what Youth Fair means to you and your experience. It always helps to drive the point home. So we'll be back after these 3 minutes of messages from our sponsors.
A reputation for caring, a legacy of service. At Brown Funeral Homes and Cremations, it's been our story since 1880. A family-owned business, we support the needs and wishes of families. We offer traditional services, as well as many options for cremation, customized remembrances, and pre-planning. Brown Funeral Homes and Cremations retains its family atmosphere and stays true to its roots. Contact us for advanced planning or at your time of loss. We're here when you need us.
Happiness grows here all through the year. From pecan berries and sunny peaches one by one. Happiness grows here.
Orr's Farm Market.
We love Fair Week at Orr's Farm Market. Watching all of our friends compete with their projects and bringing the community together always makes us smile. Visit us at Orr's Farm Market just 5 miles west of Martinsburg to pick up all your local fresh fruits and vegetables. Nothing says August like a ripe, juicy peach or a freshly picked watermelon. With our in-house bakery, fresh fruit slushies, and apple cider donuts, you can't go wrong. Live bluegrass every Saturday from 12 to 5 p.m. And check out all that's local and delicious at Orr's by going to orrsfarmmarket.com or visit our Facebook page. And remember, happiness grows here at Orr's Farm Market.
Happiness grows here.
Orr's Farm Market.
Providing reliable protection since 1877, we are Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies. For over a century, we have maintained our dedication to our policyholders to provide dependable insurance protection and excellent customer service. Protecting everything from your home to your business has never been easier. Our team is here to ensure that you, your family, and your assets are taken care of. We enjoy being a part of our local heritage and supporting the Berkeley County Youth Fair. You can trust us to protect what matters most to you, Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies. Go to fmiwv.com.
Hello, this is Mark Sutton of the Sutton & Janelle Law Firm. The right attorney can make all the difference in your case. That's why you should call Sutton & Janelle. We have been serving clients in West Virginia and Maryland since 1999 in the areas of family law, DUI, criminal defense, and personal injury. Sutton & Janelle works hard to obtain a favorable outcome for you at a reasonable rate with affordable payment options. Sutton & Janelle values your rights and is passionate about your success. Contact us today at suttonandjanelle.com.
Black Draft Distillery is the first grain-to-glass craft distillery in Martinsburg since Prohibition. When visiting, you'll be able to experience farm life firsthand and see the on-site crops being grown for our own Black Draft Distillery products. Black Draft Distillery is located at 2878 Dry Run Road in Martinsburg and is open Fridays from 4 to 9 p.m., Saturdays from 12 to 9 p.m., and Sundays from 12 to 6 p.m. For more, go to blackdraftdistillery.com or call 540-686-0100.
Good evening. We're live here at the Berkeley County Youth Fairgrounds, where even if it's raining where you're at, it is not raining right here where we are. We did see a pretty good storm down here. It moved in, and as quick as it moved in, it has moved out, and the skies are clearing. The great news is it's about at least 10 degrees cooler.
Every bit of it, if not more.
Oh, my gosh. And now there's another activity that your kids can enjoy, and that's puddle jumping. So
I would say that might be the most, unplanned but most anticipated.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, who doesn't love water? Okay, so as you can see on your screen, check it out. You know it. The watermelon eating contest is ready to begin. That looks good.
And it's so funny. Everybody underestimates these eating contests.
Yeah.
But the amount of effort and passion and drive, I have seen some what I would consider grown children, still children, they take this so competitively. And it's so amazing to be able to see them kind of turn it back a little bit and still be a kid.
Yeah, and it's such a fun event. Now, I see they're ready for it, but I don't see the kids out here yet.
They're starting, you can see it on the camera. Their backs are on the floor. So they line the back of it, and they're standing during this event.
Juniors for the watermelon
All right, well, we're going to
contest.
throw it to the watermelon contest,
Juniors,
folks, and we're going to just
gonna
watch
do it
and
a little different this
admire
year
it.
Because the time, we're going to have them hold it in their hand with one hand and eat it with the other.
Nice.
And you will see a multitude of different techniques. So some kids kind of go old school and bite into it. My preferred method, it was when we had tables, so it probably was considered cheating in my day. But you would smash the watermelon and then eat the pulp out of your hand.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I thought last year they did have tables. I'm not sure why the tables aren't set up, but they didn't have tables for the pie eating either. And I thought it was going to be arms behind the back.
It makes it a little bit more challenging.
Yes, that's true.
Down this way, facing that way. So everybody
and we are very fortunate to be able to have the sponsors to be able to do these types of things.
I wonder who our sponsor is. Does it say in the book?
It does say in the fair book.
Okay.
But all of these different kind of, what I would consider timeless kind of components truly are what makes all of these silly things kind of makes it worthwhile. I don't think any of these kids would ever say, like, oh, well, I don't want to do that. These are contests that you might have 30, 40 people sign up for. But
I definitely have seen an increase in kids from last year. Pretty much the fair was on full on last year, but it felt like maybe there was just, I don't know, it wasn't as, just comparison, it's like twice as many this year.
Yes.
So I'm glad to see that.
8 to
I will say,
14
so this year's
right
senior
now.
division is sponsored by Berkeley County Young Farmers.
Oh, nice.
They're doing first, second, and third.
Scoot down.
And then for the junior division, Tomahawk Warriors 4-H Club is sponsoring the first place.
Okay.
Berkeley County Young Farmers the second place, and Teats and Buns LLC is third.
Thank you to our sponsors.
Spread out.
Okay.
It's one of those things that as we kind of move on, you know, you never really know what these kids are going to sign up
Down
for.
a little more.
So to be able to
little
have
more.
them kind of jump full on into any type of event truly does kind of amaze what we're doing.
Absolutely.
When you're
Got a lot of questions coming in. What's going on down there? Everything's still on. I'm trying to answer a few questions here online, but yes.
Everything is back on for now. So
yes,
we have
the
not
tree,
heard of anything.
If you've heard that the tree is down, there was a tree down blocking the gate. It has been removed. So don't let that keep you from coming.
We are full-fledged. You know, we're kind of the all hands on deck. We can fix it if it's down here.
Exactly.
We've got enough. We've got enough connections in this county that we can do about anything if we have to move the right mountain.
Okay. You have to eat it all except for the rind.
Oh, wow. Eat it all. I wonder if they get a seed, what happens? Can they spit that out, Mike?
Hey, if they can take the time to spit and keep eating, you know. I haven't seen any kid grow a watermelon yet, so. And it's funny to see how intense these kids get about it.
Yeah.
You know, they'll go from very calm, cool, collective right now hanging out, but here in about 45 seconds when she says go, you will see some juice flying.
Right?
Yes.
Those were some of my favorite pictures that I saw from our photographers where the kids, I didn't post some of them. I wanted to, but of course, social media, you have the 10 photo limit if you're going to do it on so I kind of do like the combined post on Insta and Facebook, and so I have like a 10 photo limit for that. And I wanted to show yesterday, like after the contests were taking place, some of the older kids were taking the pies and shoving them in each other's faces.
It's all in good fun.
But they were just having such a great time. And honestly, it was so hot. And I thought to myself, that having pie all over your face
we've
in
got
this
our
heat,
queen now.
It was
I will
funny.
say, there were some throwback memories on my Facebook of when I went toe-to-toe with a youth fair queen. It was when Mallory Rudy was the queen. And I have chocolate pudding all over my face. So that was a very interesting year for us. That was the first year we brought all these contests.
Well, speaking of when you when you were young enough to be a part of the exhibitors, tell us, like, did you participate in what we're going to see tonight?
Absolutely.
The showman.
The round robin.
Ready?
Not the round robin. So the round robin is only in its second or third year. It's in its second year.
Okay. Would you have been able to? Were you a grand or overall?
No. So I always lost by one place, which was kind of funny because we always showed with the same group of people. So it was all good fun. But, you know, I was up there close enough that I think if, you know, Samantha March, she'd won. I'll say Liam's already finishing his first one. Ben's finishing his. They're moving through this quick.
How many? They have 2 slices?
I think
chunks?
they have 2 chunks.
Okay.
So they're starting to work on them. He's already on his second. I'll say Briar Moss there.
Are those watermelon rinds, once the kids eat that out, can they be used for the animals? Do any animals eat rinds like that? Pigs?
Oh,
maybe?
yeah. Pigs, chickens, steers, anything. The water content's great for them.
Okay.
We used to take a whole watermelon or a whole pumpkin and just kind of pitch it in the chicken pen.
Oh, wow.
And they'll kind of go, they'll clean it up in no amount of time at all. And it's really good for them because it kind of has a twofold kind of advantage.
Okay, we have first.
I would say they just awarded first place. Hands are in the air. I think it was Maya Martinez was over there.
Who's going to be second?
But, you know, being able to have these dual kind of, you know, you pick up.
We have second. And third on the end.
Like a dual.
You're so close.
Purpose of all these things,
Okay.
But a lot of times
Come down to
people
me.
wonder what farmers do with kind of
Get your name.
what they would consider bad parts of produce.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of time they're using it to feed other livestock.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. It's probably bad to us and maybe in the taste category and potentially like if it's rotten, but we wouldn't consume it. But I'm sure to the livestock, it's
yes, millions
wonderful.
of pounds of food, is thrown daily away. And being able to take some of that and put it back into a good use, that in itself is kind of allowing the next generation of agriculturalists to be formed.
Now, was that the senior division?
No, that was just the juniors.
Okay, yeah,
so
I guess so, yeah.
That was a pretty calm version.
Yeah, so now we're going to see the...
Yeah, some of these seniors, when they get in here, they like to make a mess, so... I'll say I don't see some of our norms. Oh, they're over in the gates, so we'll see them come in here just shortly. Hunter Dunham will do it. It's funny to see the wide variety of people that enter these contests.
Yeah.
Because I think some of them are reluctant at first, but once they see like how much fun it truly is, truly makes it worth their time.
So you see them over there, and you see some regulars, huh? Oh yeah.
I'll say Lucas and Hunter will both. They're siblings. I would be shocked if there's not at least 10 or 15 of them in that ring before we start.
Okay. Do you think they rode out the storm here? Did they pretty much when they get here in the morning to feed, do they stay here all day?
A lot of them, yes. And that kind of is where you get that fair culture at. And I talked about barn culture a little bit. Being down here all day, we used to play cards on our tack box. You take naps on your tack box. We have some green space down in the amphitheater. Kids play, toss football. But you kind of, that's the one kind of
seniors who are,
a lot of times.
It's a good place for them to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where we talk about kids using technology too much.
And this is a place they can get away
exactly.
from. Because you don't really have very good signals
Absolutely
down here
not.
unless you know the password to the Wi-Fi.
Exactly.
Question was asked last night. When did it change, and why did they take the live concert events out of the amphitheater? They now have it in the grandstand live track area.
So I think a lot of times when we talk about the amphitheater, it's losing its accessibility a little bit. So being able to put it down at the track, one, it gives us seating. The amphitheater does not have seating at this point. And I think ultimately it makes it so that we can get more people to view whatever it is that we're hosting.
Yeah.
So we had that family event where we did movie night on Saturday. I'm trying to think back now. That was
Saturday, first night of the fair.
My sister does all the awards, Sarah, and I'm thankful she does because I couldn't keep track of that. But she was joking this morning. She was like, "How are we on the 57th day of a 5-day fair?"
Yeah.
I had to count back there. But we had that down at the amphitheater because of how dark it does get. And that's something else that you take into consideration when we're going to concert.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
you couldn't really be on the hill there at, like last night, Morgan White didn't go on until 9:30.
Exactly.
And I thought about that. It must be a lighting thing. But also, I personally wouldn't want to lug a chair down to the youth fair because I'm coming down, I'm going to eat, I'm going to hang out for the evening. And then I don't want to have my chair that I have to carry from my parking space all the way to the amphitheater. I mean, I don't know. I think the grandstands are better. The only thing I can see that could be maybe improved a little bit is that the stage was so far from the grandstands, and I don't know if that was just this year, maybe because of the rain, it was too muddy.
I'd say dealing with the track, and I say consistency, and that's what it really is. But being able to move equipment in and out and effectively do it, not get stuck, not get everything so muddy.
Sure.
Those are all factors when we start to set this up. I was like, this will be a fun class. So there's,
see who they are.
Haley,
see if you can name
there's
them all.
Cheyenne, Kaya. I think that is Dylan. There's Julia, I think, and forth. But it's definitely a good group of kids. And some of these, like I said, all exhibitors, all doing amazing things. I'll say Caitlin Silkworth, there's Hunter, Jordan Kendig. Some of these are age outs. And, to see them kind of enjoy this for this last go-around, it's just a fun event. I'll say Lucas, Hunter's brother right there on the end, goofball of the bunch. But, being able to have this and be able to, I would say this is a reward in all honesty. It allows them as an exhibitor to have this kind of fun.
Right.
They're
it's not
bragging.
A serious competition. It's friendly competition.
This is for bragging rights and $15. So it's like not necessarily the most. I would say Lucas has already finished piece one.
Oh my gosh.
His mom would say he has a big mouth. I just call him a perfect 4-H'er. But
it looks like he's choking.
He is right now.
The EMS is not here.
Marsha, there he is.
They normally are here. Oh, good.
Yeah.
I was like, where are
They're
they?
not far away. That's for sure.
Okay, good.
But I would say the Yates sisters there. That's a good face right there.
I
It was
like
just. But Hunter,
Hunter's
like I'm
going
saying,
at it.
Hunter's
Look at
going.
her. She's like, come on,
to
I'm
town.
serious about this.
It's funny.
She's on her second piece.
To see them go from very shy and timid 9-year-olds to like Caitlin scarfing down on a piece.
Okay, I just came up to think of an idea. Why don't they have corn shucking? They should have corn eating. Like, who can eat clear a piece of corn off a cob first?
I'm not against it.
Listen,
I'm
I love me some corn on the cob, and I'm telling you.
I would say, and then we have like Miss McKinley over here. She's just casually eating.
Yeah.
We're not racing.
No, she's in
Cheyenne's
it.
eating the green part,
She's not in it
I
to
think.
win it. She's in it to just enjoy it.
She just wants the watermelon. That's
yes,
all that
exactly.
is. I would say it's funny.
Now, is this the watermelon was donated by? Was that by Spring Valley or was it Oars? Was there a local market that donated that?
Usually we have real, and like I said, we thrive on donations.
Yes, exactly.
To make all this possible. So Spring Valley and Oars,
both
as well as
big
Kitchen, yes,
yeah.
huge contributors to make this stuff possible. But I think Spring Valley is where we got these from.
Okay.
In the local
gosh.
orcharding industries,
Is that
even
him?
last night, I'll say Dylan just threw his hands up. We might have first place. Jordan's up. So it's a Dylan, Jordan, maybe a Yates. But being able to kind of have this fun, you know, it truly is a passion project to pull off a fair.
Oh,
I mean,
gosh,
we've
yes.
had 3 or 4 representatives of different orchards. Appalachian Orchard brought one of the raffle baskets last night at our bake auction. Truly an amazing amount. I'll say, I didn't know. Did you get the total last night?
For the youth bake, all I knew was over 16 when I added it up.
It was right. I would say it's right at 16, so it's 15,950.
Okay, well then I must have written down somebody wrong. I missed 2, and I knew that nothing went for under 5.
Correct.
So I just plugged in 5 for those. But then
15,950.
the others, I thought I had got. Maybe I was a little high, but I thought it was like 1650 or something like that.
I love it.
1550.
Or $15,950.
Okay, let's just say 16,000.
Yeah, I would.
You know, and round it up. And so I understand that out of that, a lot of the organizations are really looking forward to maybe you think you'll double it next year. I mean, when they saw that.
It's one of those things, and there's so many different variations of a youth bake auction in our surrounding counties. But we really can only make it possible with the buyers that we have.
Right.
And one of the tasks that we gave them was to not kind of go to our Friday night buyers.
Oh, definitely.
Go find somebody new.
Did you see new people then buying?
Absolutely.
Okay.
With the exception of 3,
Okay.
all of the rest out of the 13 buyers were new.
Well, good. Hey, that's great. And it's maybe, I don't know if it for one of the baskets it wasn't necessarily a lower ticket item than a livestock auction. But at least it's something different. Some people don't want to even bother with the market animal, so it's something different that they can do.
And it's still it's still tax deductible. They're putting it in the same type of fun.
And honestly, if you don't want to come and spend the whole evening Friday night, then you come in and out, and it's a little bit of a shorter window.
Start to end, we took 41 minutes.
So that's
it wasn't
definitely
bad.
a bonus. So, all right, so they're getting set up now for the corn chucking, and so that is coming up next. Now, I don't know if there's any tricks to the trade on corn chucking.
There's not. Go quick. That's the trick of the trade. To go quick.
Now, what will they do will they give that corn to any of the animals then afterwards?
Yeah. You'll see. I'll say this sounds bad, but you'll see it kind of throughout all the rest of the barns.
Okay.
It was the year that we started it. One mom collected it all and she cooked it. It was the greatest thing.
Oh wow.
Just kind of a fun.
Yeah.
Being able to do it.
Heck yeah.
There's a lot of different activities that we've done in the past. We've done bubble gum blowing.
Oh wow.
And we've measured, the size of the bubble. We bought this official bubble chart.
We'll measure.
But we've done texting contests.
Oh gosh.
It was really easy to set up. We put up the screen and said, "You text this to this number." The
and
first
who was
one
most
won.
accurate? Oh wow.
Yep. So it was a really good time.
Isn't that Reagan's and Reese's? Is that their grandmother?
Yep.
Just all come in. Yeah. And actually,
Just
that's,
up the steps.
That's
Taylor's
then we have brother, isn't it?
Yes, and then we have Garrett's dad, Mr. Glassford, over here.
We're seeing folks who are showing up and getting here for the contest that's the show that's about to happen. What, not too far from happening at 6 o'clock, the round robin. Honestly, I think that might have been one of my favorites just because I guess when you get to see the variety of animals in that short a span, and then it's just, it's so competitive because
it's the cream of the crop.
It is.
I mean, we are putting the best of the best of each species.
And speaking of, Mike Hornby asked you, not me, to explain when we say this showmanship contest is different than some of the other contests for a reason. And
essentially,
let's explain that.
Each livestock competition is broken up into 3 different categories.
Okay.
We have breeding and market, and those are based on conformation of the animal.
Okay.
So in the market contest, you'll hear us use words about cutability and beef, being able to have high yields and all these different components, versus a breeding show where we might talk about her capacity.
Right.
Or how feminine she looks in her front shoulder, or how open she looks in her back rib. All of these different terms are used for breeding purposes. So you want them to be able to carry a full term, whatever it is of the species, versus are we butchering it?
Yes.
The second component to that, we have a showmanship class, and the showmanship class is more about how the actual showman interacts with the animal. So it's kind of funny. It's 2 different contests ran at the same time, but a lot of times we'll have judges that by the time they do showmanship and they see all the different exhibitors come through with their animals, it makes it pretty easy to do your breeding classes and your conformation classes.
Yeah.
Because you can kind of say, oh, well, that looked really good when it first came in. And, we've heard judges this week even say, well, when they first hit the ring, when they first hit the shavings, a remarkable animal is a remarkable animal, regardless if you see it 1, 5, 10, 25 times.
Sure.
I was talking with one of the judges. She actually had a tie score. So some of our, non-market livestock, rabbit show, chicken show, that kind of stuff, they use different ways to kind of grade or judge.
Right.
And the chickens especially, it's on a point system. It's still the Danish system, but it gives us a rubric to be able to select blue, red, and white.
Right.
But the judge was able to go through tie score, went through, agreed to rejudge the cages like he's never seen them before.
Okay.
Was able to give the same exact score he did the first time without having to reflect.
Wow.
So a lot of times when we're bringing in these specialists in their own right, they're able to remember it. I've shown, in multiple places all around the United States. And I've shown under judges that can come in, look at a class of lambs or hogs walk in, turn his back to you, and say, the young lady with the blue-butted gilt.
There was just something about it.
And they can place them 10 hogs deep.
Wow.
Or 20 lambs in a class, and be able to the gentleman with the blue smoked lamb, gentleman with the blue Dorper base.
They know what they're looking for.
Yes.
And when they see it, they know, and they call it out.
They know what they like, and they are going to put those at higher regards. So it's really a cool kind of experience.
But not all of the exhibitors do the showmanship category, or is that what you call
mandatory.
It?
Yeah, it's a class. It's not mandatory, strongly encouraged, because that's when they truly hone in those skills of building themselves.
Right.
And we've seen kind of the full gamut of a very shy, timid. I'll pick on Andrew Bohr. I know his daddy. I'm allowed to do that. Andrew, when he first started showing, he was very shy and timid. And any kid showing a 1,200-pound animal, that is in their complete right to do.
Yeah.
But to see him now,
the confidence,
the confident level, he's picking up on those little tricks to make that heifer or steer kind of do what he wants and look exactly how he wants it.
Right.
And I keep saying it. That's what makes these kids athletes in their own respect.
Absolutely.
They're pouring those extra hours. I always make fun of, joke with, kid with, the amount of hours some of these kids spend in the barn.
Oh yeah.
I was talking to Mr. Glassford about Garrett, and he was like, "Yeah, he didn't come in until 1 o'clock." And I was like, what other kind of extracurricular activity?
Yeah, exactly.
Would parents be okay with their kids not coming into 1 o'clock? And he said that he had done it all last week.
Wow.
And he shows all the species. He showed a market lamb, market doe. I think he had a barrow, and of course he showed beef yesterday. But being able to have that level of output, it takes those hours.
Yes, I can imagine.
He's spending 2 hours feeding in the morning and evening, on top of, spending 2 or 3 hours just walking animals. Not something that happens overnight.
He was one that I remembered immediately when I saw him this year because
goofy as all get out.
You wouldn't maybe expect him to be as fiercely competitive as he is by your first impression of him. But boy, when you get him in a ring, and I remembered him from last year, and he really left an impression. So, and I know nothing when it comes to judging. So if he left an impression on me,
it really meant something at that point.
Right.
It's so funny, we talk about all these kids and all the different components that they do. Garrett was he's a member of FFA as well, and he was a top competitor in the middle school 7th and 8th grade agri-science knowledge contest.
Wow.
So, and that was on a state level. So being able to go out and do all these different things, they're not just showmen. They're showmen. They're taking all of this extra pieces and weaving it into their year. So this, a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's a 7-day fair. These kids start getting ready. If you got a steer, you're starting next year's project in about a month.
In a month, yeah. They get a 1 month off. That's what I guess maybe it was Julie was saying, that they get a month to just
to relax.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are taking, the Barrett girls, they're all going to state fair. Garrett was going to the state fair.
Yeah, so they're not going to even have any time off because that's coming up. All right, so did you ever compete in the corn shucking, Mike?
So I was actually on the committee that helped create the corn shucking contest.
Oh, you were?
So a couple years ago, there were about 10 of us, and we did a new ideas committee.
Oh, okay.
And I will say, our fair does a phenomenal job at being very progressive in what we do.
Yeah.
We don't want these kids to come and be bored. We're providing activities, not only for them. This is a solo individual activity, but we've also been, thinking more as a family unit. So offering some of those activities. Movie night was a beautiful type of that.
How did that go? I meant to ask you.
We had over 100 people.
Okay, good.
We ended the night with 9 families with 36. So, it's one of those. It was the first year for it. We never have offered anything like that before. And we did some advertising for it, but of course.
Not a lot. I mean, it was kind of, actually, it might have been, it was probably the last 2 weeks of the fair. So we'll do a better job of that for sure next year. And now that, as long as you bring it back.
Yes.
But, it's nice to use that amphitheater since it's not being used for anything else.
And the fact that we can turn that light off and make it dark for the movie.
Right.
Yes, it was a little bit later, started about 15 minutes late, but it was one of those things that, kids were reciting the movie. We were outside. They were singing along with the songs. It was just kind of a fun event. Kind of to take part in. Kids were sitting with kids, parents were standing up on the banks. We provided snacks. We were very thankful that AWC Contracting was a sponsor for the fair. And, when I told Amy and Brandon what they were going, they're like, we bought all the snacks. I was like, hey, somebody had to do it. But, knowing that we have that level of support, I keep talking about this fair not being able to be pulled off without our businesses and without our local sponsors and farmers.
There's just no way.
Everybody has a piece to the puzzle. It's when we put them together do we really get the masterpiece that we make it.
Yeah, and have you ever had anybody have you ever had anyone turn down wanting to give something at some level?
Not to these kids.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
And that's the thing. I might play a dirty trick on sometimes, and I'll send the kids. I'm like, hey, sponsor this.
Yeah.
Julie and Hunter have done it phenomenally for me for a couple of years. But, a lot of times, if these kids are coming out with the ideas, we encourage them to go out.
Sure.
And, we see that a lot, especially on Friday night with the sale. Every single kid that it sells, we tell they need to take out buyer's letters.
Buyer's letters, yeah.
We've gotten to a point in our culture where some of them are sending emails, but I would say 90-95% of them are still doing a handwritten or typed letter and taking it to and handing it to a business owner. And, that's intimidating for some adults to do, let alone a 12-year-old, 14-year-old.
Absolutely.
And to know business owners, I've had them come up to me and be like, hey, I saw this kid was in 4-H.
Yeah.
Would you hire them? And in a heartbeat, yes.
Yeah.
4-H is a different breed of kid, and it's not just a livestock kid. We have kids that are going on to be engineers. They're going and, becoming extreme bakers. I don't know if anyone saw Colton Hutton's cake for our opening ceremony.
I tasted it. It was delicious.
That 4-tier cake, you could not do better.
No.
All right? I don't care how much you would pay for it. No. That was a work of art.
Good. Man, I'd like a piece of that right now.
I said that this morning. I was like, that would be so good for breakfast.
Is everybody ready?
I'll say we're getting ready to get underway with the corn shucking contest. So if you notice, they put the corn cob between their legs. It is a one-hand contest. So they're ripping away leaves. Amadea is doing a phenomenal job. She'll be done here just in a couple seconds. I'll say when they're done, they're standing up.
So one-handed.
Yep. I'll say Timmy's just ripping leaves. They're all doing good.
Wow.
Way better than I could do with this, let's be honest.
What?
That quick.
Already?
That quick.
No.
Yeah, you can see it.
Oh, my gosh. I think she must have practiced.
So Gracie Knight, I think Breyer was over there. Definitely a fun event. And it's such a quick event, and the kids enjoy it.
That did go fast. I'm surprised the kids keep going because they're not eating it. So it's like,
oh, yeah.
Unless they're trying to get a third place.
I'll say Rafe just bit the bottom of his.
Oh, gosh.
That's dedication. I like that he picked it up off the ground to do that. That was impressive.
Oh, my gosh, that was.
And it's funny how, like, these kids start to value how much these contests kind of bring to this. You see them kind of take it more and more. There's probably 30, 40 kids that are participating in these things. And, like, not too many times can you pull 40 kids off of, their device and say, all right, go shuck corn in the middle of the arena.
I know. I wish I had some of those kids shucking corn for me. That's fun. Okay, so what age was that?
That was our junior kids.
Okay.
You can look over and see how little they are. Did a phenomenal job.
Okay, yesterday some of the contests had 3 divisions. It was probably Clover Buds,
Clover
then the
Buds,
juniors,
juniors,
and
seniors.
then the seniors. Okay. But some of these juniors look tall. Oh, my gosh. They must be close to being moving into the seniors.
Yeah, 12 is usually, I think, the cutoff, 11, 12. And see, they're being a good stewardess of the arena. You can see them picking up their trash.
Yeah.
We do kind of a massive cleanup kind of across the board.
Because you have
Friday.
but wouldn't you have to also for the competition?
Oh,
if that's left in the ring, are those animals going to go
Oh,
sniff
yes,
it
they'll
out?
go crazy.
Yeah.
If you would walk a steer in there and you left corn shucks on the ground, they're not interested in showing anymore.
No. Oh, gosh.
So it's definitely.
So what will they do? Will they bring a rake in and kind of?
They're just picking them up. Dorothy's one of our 4-H volunteers right there. It shows her.
She knows to.
All hands on deck. Timmy Lease, even though he just smacked him in the head, but those 2 boys are in shooting sports program together. So I'll say, kind of makes me proud. All 3 of the boys standing right now helping represent our 4-H shooting sports program.
Oh wow! And I've heard a lot of great things about that.
Just started it a couple years ago. We had 1 year pre-COVID. Just came back this past year. We are already up to 72 kids in shooting sports.
Wow.
And we will kick off our 2nd air rifle season September, October.
Wow. Okay. So they don't actually do they're not involved in the fair at all.
No. So how we do 4-H shooting sports is we run it as a spin club, which is a short interest kind of experience. So they come in and they shoot for about 12 or 14 weeks, and then we have some type of regional or state competition, and we run them kind of simultaneously. So air rifle starts in September.
Okay.
Archery starts the end of September. I know, trying to keep track of it kind of blows your mind. The regionals for air rifle are in April.
And where is that held? Is that locally?
Yeah, we have
and
it
then
local.
Do they compete at another level
Yes,
then?
so they can actually go all the way to nationals.
Oh, wow.
West Virginia actually, he wasn't from Berkeley, he was from Doddridge County. But we actually had the #1 musket, no, that's muzzleloader, that's what it is, competitor in the 4-H division out of the whole country. And then, so Jack Hudson came, kind of cleaned up shop. He was first in 2 events and third in another. But, we have this kind of national reputation of this shooting sports program. And it's something that when I first started in the county about 5 years ago, it's not something that we had. So being able to even offer that, we have a really strong robotics team. We have equestrian clubs, livestock judging, of course. We've done poultry judging. I've always said if a kid wants to do a contest, we'll find somebody to coach it.
Now, when the kids who are doing the judging, because I know that Peyton was saying she is on that she's in livestock judging. So what are they judging? Because, I mean, what kind of event would allow a youth to judge?
So they're judging against each other. So we'll compete against counties from around the state. And we do send teams to nationals. Berkeley County had a long-standing tradition for a while of sending the this West Virginia State Dairy team to the national contest.
Okay.
And we have a lot of different contests, I should say. There's an environmental contest, floriculture, horticulture, livestock judging, horse judging. They call it equine judging. Sorry,
Right.
did not mean to step on toes on that one. Poultry judging. But all of these different components kind of run in tandem with a lot of the different FFA offerings that we have. I would say in all there's probably 30, 35 different contests for each set.
Wow. So just because the fair's over doesn't mean your job. I mean, we know the fair takes all year long, but that's not even really your responsibility.
No.
You're just grooming all the kids in a sense, or you're a part of managing the organizations with which the kids are a part of all year long that are part of the youth fair.
I think my job's, I look at it at a very different kind of aspect, even from some of my colleagues. My job is to create opportunities for children. So I don't actually just focus on 4-H. I know that might be a shocker for some people. A lot of what I'm doing now is school enrichment or promoting other types of youth organizations, training different types of leaders, but working in tandem with a lot of the different other nonprofit groups in Berkeley County to ensure that our youth as a whole in the county have somewhere to go and something to do.
That's great. Now, is that your down in the commercial building in the corner?
Yep.
Is that your? Okay,
That is.
your
That's all of
crew?
us. We have 5 booths this year. We're offering STEM kits. I was really fortunate to have a WVU intern, Miss Emma Alwyn from Hedgesville. She is at WVU right now studying political science.
I see her over there.
I would say I'm trying to get her to come on air.
Good job.
We're just talking about your degree. So Emma kind of came to us at the end of the spring semester, and she is representing WVU as just our student worker, summer intern. But she was not involved in the fair, but has definitely got thrown into the fair. Kind of even just this interview. She was over here trying to ask me a question. And I said, come on, Emma, we're putting you on air.
Past us,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If I know your name,
Fair
you're
game.
never safe. Emma, what would you say, has this given you, working this fair, has it given you kind of a new outlook on what 4-H and this fair provides?
I definitely think it has. I didn't really have a lot of exposure with 4-H and the fair. I just came one day a week normally to the fair and just did the carnival and everything, and I would just see the animals, and I didn't know anything about, I didn't even know that they sold the animals after. I knew literally absolutely nothing. So this experience has been really awesome for me, and I'm really excited that I've been able to learn a lot about not just 4-H the program, but about what 4-H does, and I've also learned a lot about animals in general, and I think it has made me appreciate where my food comes from. I was just having a conversation with my mom the other day about appreciating where my food comes from, and I've lived around a farm my whole life, farm in my area, but I didn't even know anything about what they did or anything, so I think that it's been a really good experience for me.
Is it something that you would recommend for other people, that are not necessarily enrolled in 4-H? Would you encourage other people to join it now seeing what we do?
Yes, I would, yes, and you don't have to be knowledgeable of farming or animals to be in 4-H either. That was a complete misunderstanding that I had too, because most people I knew in 4-H did show animals.
I felt that. I would have thought that too. Oh, I don't live on a farm, or I don't,
Exactly.
You just have this idea that, of what it's supposed to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like we really work at breaking that mold.
Yeah.
Em and I have, taught, I should say, at a couple different schools this summer. And, being able for kids to associate the flying WVU with the 4-leaf clover.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's
that in itself provides such an amazing advocacy for not only our program, the university, but also our local community.
Well, and Emma, you're at WVU, so now that you've been involved in your internship, Is there anything now that you might get involved in at WVU as a result of your
I'm trying to get her to join 4-H for
He
her last
is.
year.
He's trying really hard. I just don't want to commit to something if I'm not 100% sure that I have the time to commit.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're already
It's
probably have a
funny.
full
So when she
schedule
first
of school.
came in, she was like, "No, I'm not a member." I was like, "What? How old are you? What's your birthday? We can still get you in." And the other day, she told me that she was now trying to get her sister.
There you go.
to
I was
join
trying to get
4-H.
Zoe, yeah.
So Zoe isn't even
Or Zoe,
safe, and I
Zoe,
can't even.
Zoe.
Yeah.
Too many names flying around down here.
I'll say we were just talking. Emma even asked the question. She's like, "How do you know all these kids?" And I was like, "At this point, you just kind of you're able to interact." And
It's very impressive, like how many kids he can remember, not only who they are, but things about them and everything. It's like, because I see it with my mom, she's a teacher, so I see it a lot. But it's nice to know that not just teachers
Shout out
are
Marcy
able.
Alwyn.
Yes, Marcy Alwyn.
I'll say it was so funny. So her mom was my teacher. She was student teaching.
Yes, she was. With Mr. Brock.
Such a funny thing. Hi, Rafe. I know now all the Emmerichs are waving at me, but we are getting set up. They are clearing the field, getting ready for that round robin showmanship competition.
Yeah.
What you'll see is your show exhibitors start to come to the sidelines. They are responsible for finding the equipment that they need.
Okay.
So each of them will come in with a show stick, a variety of brushes, some different halters, some different chains, and ultimately they'll be able to switch in and out of what they actually need.
Okay.
And it's pretty impressive for them to be able to, know exactly what type of comb, what type of setting do they need. I keep saying these are the best of the best. These would be if I was going to a national show. Hi, Jordan. I'll say all the Yates are waving. It's perfect. But if I was a producer and, I had stock going to a national show, these are the type of young people that I would put on at the show.
There. Yeah, they're all dressed and ready to go. And we're going to have to take a quick break so that we can come back and not miss a second of the show. I think we'll have a little time when we get back just to give a preview of it. But let's go ahead now. Do we want to take a 3 or 5 minute? Let's take a 3-minute break, and we'll be right back to get started on this next event.
A reputation for caring, a legacy of service. At Brown Funeral Homes and Cremations, it's been our story since 1880. A family-owned business, we support the needs and wishes of families. We offer traditional services, as well as many options for cremation, customized remembrances, and pre-planning. Brown Funeral Homes and Cremations retains its family atmosphere and stays true to its roots. Contact us for advanced planning, or at your time of loss. We're here when you need us.
Happiness grows here all through the year. From pecan berries and sunny beaches one by one. Happiness grows here.
Orr's Farm Market.
We love Fair Week at Orr's Farm Market. Watching all of our friends compete with their projects and bringing the community together always makes us smile. Visit us at Orr's Farm Market just 5 miles west of Martinsburg to pick up all your local fresh fruits and vegetables. Nothing says August like a ripe, juicy peach or a freshly picked watermelon. With our in-house bakery, fresh fruit slushies, and apple cider donuts, you can't go wrong. Live bluegrass every Saturday from 12 to 5 p.m. And check out all that's local and delicious at Orr's by going to orrsfarmmarket.com or visit our Facebook page. And remember, happiness grows here at Orr's Farm Market.
Happiness grows here.
Orr's Farm Market.
Providing reliable protection since 1877, we are Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies. For over a century, we have maintained our dedication to our policyholders to provide dependable insurance protection and excellent customer service. Protecting everything from your home to your business has never been easier. Our team is here to ensure that you, your family, and your assets are taken care of. We enjoy being a part of our local heritage and supporting the Berkeley County Youth Fair. You can trust us to protect what matters most to you. Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies. Go to fmiwv.com.
Hello, this is Mark Sutton of the Sutton & Janelle Law Firm. The right attorney can make all the difference in your case. That's why you should call Sutton & Janelle. We have been serving clients in West Virginia and Maryland since 1999 in the areas of family law, DUI, criminal defense, and personal injury. Sutton & Janelle works hard to obtain a favorable outcome for you at a reasonable rate with affordable payment options. Sutton & Janelle values your rights and is passionate about your success. Contact us today at suttonandjanelle.com.
Black Draft Distillery is the first grain-to-glass craft distillery in Martinsburg since Prohibition. When visiting, you'll be able to experience farm life firsthand and see the on-site crops being grown for our own Black Draft Distillery products. Black Draft Distillery is located at 2878 Dry Run Road in Martinsburg and is open Fridays from 4 to 9 p.m., Saturdays from 12 to 9 p.m., and Sundays from 12 to 6 p.m. For more, go to blackdraftdistillery.com or call 540-686-0100.
All right, I was just getting ready to answer a question on Messenger that keeps coming up, and it is, are y'all still open?
Absolutely.
Because of the weather. Everybody wants to know. So, yes, we are still here. We're still live, as you can tell, and all of the events at this point are still on.
We're moving forward.
Nothing to hold you back. In fact, the rain actually made things nicer down here. It's cool. There's a breeze.
It is 15 degrees cooler than what it was at lunchtime.
That is amazing. That was worth that rainstorm. So nothing got canceled. Everything's open, and we got a bonus. We are 15 degrees cooler, which was much welcomed because this was probably going to be the record heat day of the fair.
That's how it always works.
And the high 90s earlier today, and so that storm really was an answer to prayer. We're here live in the indoor arena. I'm Mary Beth Blair, your host for the 75th anniversary Berkeley County Youth Fair, live on TV 10. With me is Mikey Withrow with the WBU Extension Office. I always throw agent in there. I guess I just want you to be an agent.
So my title is literally 37 words long. So I'm the 4-H and Youth Development Agent with West Virginia University Extension.
There you go.
So
Too
it's a
long of
mouthful.
title.
It doesn't fit on one business
acronym
card.
Or something.
Mikey, that's what I've came up with.
Okay,
Mikey with
that's good.
4-H.
Well, we're watching as the area is being prepared. And I'm surprised there aren't more people here yet, but maybe they'll just all come in.
They're
right
in the
at
barns,
once.
so
okay.
You'll see them because what we also do
I
is
would think
we
that
utilize.
Sorry to interrupt. Would not each barn come in to support their barn? Like,
They
are
will.
they going to come in and cheer them on? Is there going to be a lot of support from the exhibitors
absolutely.
at this one?
So, and it's kind of funny because you said they're all coming out. There are 5 individuals back in those barns that are getting 5 of their animals as fit as possible for these exhibitors to show.
Wow.
So it's not just 5 kids are competing. There's 30 kids back in that barn getting ready. And it's kind of a awesome thing because usually what we do is we ask those that have animals that did exceptionally well in the ring for showmanship. Those are what we ask to come back in.
Yeah.
And we give the judge a variety of different types. So we might get some, for the beef, we might have heifers, we might have steers, or we might have a mix of both.
Now, you said you don't know what order it'll go in. How will they determine that order, the judges?
I'm sure somebody knows the order.
And-
I'm just not privy to that.
And who judges this?
So it's a new judge every year. It's one of
Okay.
those things that we kind of bring in just like any other livestock show.
Okay, so it'll be a different judge than any that you've had so far.
Correct. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure.
Great. Who's in charge of the show? Not you.
Not me. Judy Shoemaker, I believe, or Judy
Okay.
Sechrist is in charge
Oh,
of
Judy,
the
yes.
round robin
Okay.
showmanship.
I don't see her over there. We'll have to find
I
out.
would say, so she's actually probably getting pigs ready.
I wonder if they have the judges in here.
They do. I was going to flip to it, but then the
Yeah.
camera turned on me and I panicked.
It's okay.
So.
We can be looking. I just, I find it fascinating, these judges. Oh, here we go. I do this every night.
Oh, see, she's getting choked up just thinking about how many opportunities we offer here at the Berkeley County Youth Fairgrounds. That's what it is. You're welcome.
It's a timing thing, like at a certain time of the show.
Yes.
As they're getting everything ready, it's just the hay in here. Because I put my mic down.
That's what you get.
Sorry, my eyes are watering up, and I just got a whiff of the good old barn hay.
It's
How do you adjust? You're just like, I don't know.
Some people are just born with it. What can I say?
Yeah.
It's funny. We were talking
I have
about
an episode every night in here.
it's you reminiscing about the past. We were talking about the smells of fair, and someone was like, "Well, fair stinks." I was like, "It's one of those things that fair has a distinct smell, whether it be the livestock barns, whether it be the Midway horse barn, they all have a very distinct smell."
We're at 5:48, and we are starting at 6 o'clock. We're going to begin the show. We're waiting on the official name of it is the Round Robin Showmanship And this is like you said, the cream of the crop. And these are the athletes at the top of their game here at the Berkeley County Youth Fair.
Johanna Rohr is tonight's judge, and Judy is the chairperson for this
Okay.
event.
Can you pull out a few highlights about her and tell us about this judge? Go ahead. Let's see your reading skills. Go ahead.
So that's not published in our book.
What's that? Her bio?
Her bio isn't.
Oh, I thought those were the, okay.
These are the rules. So I can tell them a little bit about the rules.
Okay, yeah. Let me see if I can pull her up.
What I can tell you, Johanna Rohr, I will tell you that our grand champion will receive a belt buckle provided by Clearbrook Feed and Supply, and then there is a gift, which is kind of a lot of different people getting together and pitching in a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there, and we actually buy a portable tack box for the overall winner. And that's just a lot of different friends of the Berkeley County Youth Fair. I was like, Caleb is one that actually helped establish that program. He came to us and said, hey, what can we get this person? And, everybody can use a show box of some type.
A show box, and then you said the buckle. That's a pretty special thing for that person. I remember last year when Taylor Barrett won it, and I remember seeing her post about it, and it really means a lot to, and they can wear it then anytime they want. Obviously, it's kind of a belt badge of honor, or whatever you want to call it.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those things that
really
as you go
beautiful.
into, yes, I would say a lot of time and effort goes into this.
And once you win, though,
you're out. You win it once.
So this is not a returning champion kind of thing.
So the first class of what they're going in, I'm sorry, I had to dip my head down so I could see a little bit. It looks to me that pigs are going to be the first thing shown.
What makes you say that? Because of what tool they have? Or?
Yes. So Garrett just pulled out a pig whip.
Okay.
That sounds a lot more aggressive than what it is. It's really just a flexible stick that's about 4 feet, and on the end of it has a tassel. Pigs are motivated by where you tap them.
Oh.
So if you want a pig to drive straight, if you hit it along the sides, you go back and forth. If you want it to turn, you tap it on the outside shoulder of whichever that you're showing. And that encourages that animal to kind of to and fro.
I wondered what that tap. I mean, I knew you said that last year. I've learned that. It just hasn't stuck with me yet.
And one of the easiest ways, we talk about, how hard are they doing what it is. So a lot of kids, when I was an FFA advisor and an ag teacher, we would teach showmanship by blowing up balloons and having kids use PVC pipe and kind of guide them around. That gets the same sense of going back and forth. And it was funny, Reese brought up walking the triangle. What that means is you want to drive that hog into the judge and away from the judge while maintaining eye contact.
Okay.
But you also want to get long, sweeping passes in front of the judge.
Okay.
Hogs don't look good when they're standing still.
Okay.
Because it's really hard for you as a exhibitor to get them set up like you would a steer or a lamb. So when they're on the move,
they're not touching the
no,
hogs.
they're not. Yep, no.
Where with the other animals, they're
bracing.
they're placing them and they're putting them in a stance, and it's such a different art. Each one of them, the showing of it is.
So, and it's funny to be able to see how they're all they're all different in the same retrospect, but they're all building kind of the same skills to become competent showmen.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, when I was doing a recap on TV10, did you catch all the recaps?
No.
Okay. It's all right.
I'll say, I'm not going to lie.
No,
usually
no
we
judgment.
watch shows, and then we're here until...
it's early.
Yeah,
it's
caught
early
me on
in
that
the morning,
one.
So 8:05. No,
8:05. So in my defense,
morning.
8:05, I'm sitting ringside keeping score.
Oh yeah, that start early that morning. So, anyways, we were talking about one of the co-hosts this week. I can't remember which one it was, but they had watched the previous day, which was the old timership, and they thought it was great. And I don't think they realized the difference between the old timers versus like
the kids competing.
But I mean, then it hit them. They're like, oh yeah. But what we all were talking about is you, and what a great job you did judging, and how much fun you made it. You were, you brought a lot of humor into the event. I mean, you can with that.
Yes.
It's not like
I would say that is not meant to be. It's competitive in its own sense.
Yeah.
And it was really funny. We were talking about the lambs. I had shown with 5 of the individuals in the lamb ring.
Oh wow.
And it was funny. I parked Jared Hoffman over here. He's the silly goose that brought the show stick for steers into the show lambs. I parked him over here in the corner and forgot he was over there. So, I had already, I know, it was so bad of me of a judge, but I had already dismissed people who were, setting them up, bracing them actively. And then I turned around and they're staring, and I was just like, oh, go. It was so funny.
Why are you still here? No, it was fun.
Forgot.
it was fun to watch. It was kind of
Yes.
like some of these other contests. You knew it wasn't. It wasn't meant to be completely 100% serious. Like, you might have thrown out somebody who potentially. Do you think? Were you throwing some out just to have fun with
Absolutely.
them and jab them? Yeah, I knew you were.
It was funny. Jared Linton and his sister Kristen Urish were both in there.
Oh, yeah.
I intentionally took Jared's brush and then wiped the side of his steer, because in showmanship, if you don't slick that hair back down, you're out.
Oh, wow.
So I hurried up and
made
took it out of his pocket and literally put it in hers.
So you could throw him out.
So I could throw him out.
All right. Well, I've been just summons to say that we are going to take a quick break before we get started so that we can bring you the entire show without a break.
Interruption.
So, yes. So we're going to throw back to the studio for a 3-minute break, and then we'll get started here in the indoor arena with the great show that we've all been waiting for, the Round Robin Showmanship.
A reputation for caring, a legacy of service. At Brown Funeral Homes and Cremations, it's been our story since 1880. A family-owned business, we support the needs and wishes of families. We offer traditional services, as well as many options for cremation, customized remembrances, and pre-planning. Brown Funeral Homes and Cremations retains its family atmosphere and stays true to its roots. Contact us for advanced planning, or at your time of loss. We're here when you need us.
Hi, I'm Jocelyn Perkins. My father, Jeremy Perkins, is the owner of CBP Enterprises, LLC, which is a third-generation family-owned business serving the tri-state area for over 50 years. If you want a hardworking, trustworthy, honest company who can help with your landscaping, asphalt maintenance, seal coating, and parking lot line striping, you should contact Jeremy Perkins at 304-671-9057. West Virginia, contracting license number WV009596.
Black Draft Distillery is the first grain-to-glass craft distillery in Martinsburg since Prohibition. When visiting, you'll be able to experience farm life firsthand and see the on-site crops being grown for our own Black Draft Distillery products. Black Draft Distillery is located at 2878 Dry Run Road in Martinsburg and is open Fridays from 4 to 9 p.m., Saturdays from 12 to 9 p.m., and Sundays from 12 to 6 p.m. For more, go to blackdraftdistillery.com or call 540-686-0100.
If you or someone you know suffers from the disease of addiction, help is available from the Berkeley County Quick Response Team with peer recovery coaches and support promptly to the homes of those who've recently experienced an overdose. This collective effort towards recovery brings resources and services to the community, including naloxone and treatment options. Call 304-267-1313 or visit the Berkeley County Recovery Resource Center, 400 West Stevens Street, Martinsburg. The Berkeley County Quick Response Team is funded through a DHHR grant with the Berkeley-Morgan County Health Department.
Providing reliable protection since 1877, we are Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies. For over a century, we have maintained our dedication to our policyholders to provide dependable insurance protection and excellent customer service. Protecting everything from your home to your business has never been easier. Our team is here to ensure that you, your family, and your assets are taken care of. We enjoy being a part of our local heritage and supporting the Berkeley County Youth Fair. You can trust us to protect what matters most to you. Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies. Go to FMIWV.com.
Hi, this is Cliff Hess of American Eagle Structures. We have great Amish quality and great prices on our sheds, gazebos, horse barns, garages, pavilions, pergolas, whatever you need. We can custom order to meet your specifications. I've been serving the four-state area for nearly 20 years in the Amish shed business. At American Eagle Structures, we honor our military, my fellow veterans, our first responders, and our families with a discount. We offer site prep and free delivery within 30 miles. We'll meet your every need. Call American Eagle Structures at 304-821-4150.
All right, we're back here live at the Berkeley County Youth Fair. We're about ready to start the Round Robin Showmanship Contest. And what we're seeing now, or you can't see it quite yet, but we can from our vantage point. Mikey, what are we seeing?
So you're seeing the exhibitors start to load their animals into the chutes. And what will happen here shortly is out in the barn, or if they may have already done this, but they'll select numbers. Okay. They are not usually working with the same animal. So if you're number one, you work with animal number one the entire time. But it's one of those things that to keep it fair, they're kind of mixed in random even until they get to the gates. So like you might not know hog number one is going to be hog number one until you walk up. So they've kind of, I think Judy's going to sit in here in a second, come in, and they'll either select numbers. They're looking at the animals right now, so they're kind of eyeing up, hey, this pig did this. It kind of is a master game of memory
Like whose pigs they are?
Yes.
You don't know? Okay.
Because as we get into lambs, goats, and steers especially, you can tell who's worked with their hog based on how the hog carries itself during the show.
Okay.
But with the rest of them, it's just like with people. Every single animal that'll come through this ring has a different type of button to be pushed.
Okay.
So it might be with steers, if you get a little bit too toothy with your show stick in between their toes, they'll kick.
Okay.
Or if you are working with a lamb and you use your hands to place the back feet instead of bumping them with your leg, they'll buck up. But it's really determinate about, how did these people train these animals, and how can these young showmen pick up on those little cues,
right? And
they'll change and reflect. You'll see some of them. Some of these people have never worked. We're very fortunate that 4 out of the 5, all 5 have shown multiple species.
Okay.
I had to look at who was over there. So Kelsey's done dairy and sheep. Reese, Reagan, and Garrett really have shown it all. Mm-hmm. And Andrew has done some swine as well as he's known for his beef. So it should be a really great show. Very top-notch individuals.
Okay. How is the winner determined? I mean, are they writing scores down after
Yes.
each heat? Is
So,
it a heat?
They are heats.
I
Look at you.
remembered
You're
that
going.
from
Heats,
last
breaks,
year.
or classes. We'll take either one.
Okay.
But this is where they're truly. This is not a contest I would ever want to judge. I'll put it that way.
As a judge.
Because this is tough. You're having to look for mistakes rather than looking for how good they are doing. I would say J.R. Barrett's walking across. Again, great donor to the fair, does a lot for us. But it's one of those things that as these kids are kind of revolving around these different animals, the judge is looking for stuff like they were in that fitting contest. How are they working? How are they changing? How is that ebb and flow going to make them a better showman overall? It's so funny. I've always said it. This and Old Timers, 2 of my favorite events to watch.
Oh, really?
Because I feel like for everything that is exceptional about this round robin showmanship is the opposite for Old Timers.
Oh, really?
So we've seen a lot of crazy things. I'll say, here they come. They'll line up across.
We are ready to begin our round robin showmanship competition. So these young folks in the ring have
Beth
each won the
Pancione is
preliminary
announcing.
round for their respective
No,
species
what caught my eye
this week to compete for the round
was
robin showmanship
Judy had
winner.
a custom tank top made with the logo
This
on it.
evening
I
we
like that.
have
Yes, she does.
Joanna Rohr with us from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. She serves as a Lancaster County 4-H judging team coach and has produced 4 state champion livestock judging teams and All-American judges at NAIL. Joanna works for Horizon Farm Credit as the Member Education and YBS Program Specialist.
Yes,
and if we could give her a
Johanna's
big
back
round
in
of
that
applause
back
and
corner.
welcome her to Berkeley County.
And a lot of times you'll see for these different types of events, they are using 4-H or FFA agents or educators just for the sheer amount of shows that these people have been to. And it's funny, coming from such a supportive and active county, you truly get an essence for different programs. So we do get asked to judge different events.
Gotcha.
It's just kind of written into the favors. Hey, you do this show this year, you pull me one next year.
Have you ever traveled to judge?
I have. I've traveled to do some.
Reese
I've done sheep a couple times, poultry, general showmanship. I've judged a couple.
Reese, you can go to your
I couldn't
pin.
judge this contest because I know the kids too
Number
much.
2
But
is Garrett Glasper.
knowing, how good the quality of showmanship are in different counties,
Garrett, you may go
we've
to
had
your
a lot
pin.
of success,
Number 3
or I've had a
is
lot of
Red-
success going in judging showmanship.
Okay, so they're being introduced and they're going into the pen to meet their animals.
This is the first time, theoretically, that they've worked with these animals.
Is Kelsey Payne.
So what they're trying to do is level the playing field in a sense.
That's
You've
exactly
got
what it is.
5 showmen, and
5
these
showmen, 5
animals
species.
are not their personal animals, and this is hopefully leveling the playing field in terms of, there's not a familiarity with that specific animal.
Exactly. And it truly will show the diversity of the livestock and the diversity of the kids that we have. Because I guarantee you, Terry Burks, when he judged this livestock showmanship class, was looking for a complete different set. So every judge, we always joke, it's the judge's day. So a judge will walk in on one day, and he might pick, Garrett over Reese, but the following week, Reese might outshow him in circles. Right. So it's all, it's so wild to think about how this will work.
Right.
I'm saying they just opened the gate,
okay.
so you saw Reese was kind of quick out of the gate. One thing that you'll notice is they all took the time to turn around and latch their gate. That's kind of a given in the showmanship world. If you open the gate, you close it. And you'll start to see some of these hogs work a little differently. Because, again, it's not its routine showman. You can tell some of them, the one that Garrett has, it's keeping its head up. The one Reagan has is keeping its head up. Those have been trained to do that by whoever the exhibitor's owner was. But being able to have that effect, Andrew Boers is out there acting a little wild. Yeah. You'll have that in a show. I love showing pigs, but pigs were one of the biggest frustrations I had because it seemed like regardless of what I wanted them to do, it's not always what they did.
Okay.
So
what if I don't want to call out anybody. You don't have to say something specifically, but right now, what could go wrong for one of these showmen right now that they'll be like, oh, man, this is not what you want to happen right now in the ring?
So where Casey's and Andrew's, I'll call them out, Casey's hog is running circles right now.
Okay.
It could be as simple as it's still stressed out.
Okay.
It could be it's probably not hot, but what we saw on Swine Show Day, it might be because of that. And at the end of the day, it might be an animal that did really well for its showman, but it's not as familiar with what's in the ring now.
Okay, so I'm seeing Garrett's animal, his hog. Is he well behaved, just kind of casually walking through the?
I would say at the current moment.
Who's showing?
I'm trying to look. Reagan is showing her tail off. So those long sweeping patterns, she's going. Showmanship is a game. It's kind of a dance. Okay. So Reagan right now, Reagan and Garrett are both kind of showing off. You're having these long sweeping passes in front of the judge because you want that judge to be able to see that animal on the side. You'll see the judge walk around the arena, and the hope is that these young people will be able to take that hog and drive it towards that judge, like Reagan is doing right at this current moment. So you're seeing her work side to side. It just turned off there. Reese is coming across the side. She has that pig whip on one side of it, trying to drive it in an arc to the judge.
Right.
But they're really going to put some work in, and the goal is to never put yourself in between the animal and the judge.
Is there anything they're not allowed to do right now? What would be a no-no? Like if we...
So every judge is a little different. So there's a lot of people that'll look at these swine judges. A lot of them don't want you to actually put your hands on them right now. They want you to either use the whip, or they want you, they also use canes, variety of different things, or they want you to use an implement like a brush.
What do you think the judge
them.
Is talking to Reagan about right now?
It's
Why
hard
would
to
there
tell.
be a stopping of that and she lets the animal go? Is
Absolutely.
that okay?
It is. And some of them, you kind of train your pig to stop when you let up. They're all congregating at the fence.
Okay.
Corners are where you go to lose. I know that sounds bad, but the reason why is because once that hog gets their nose so rooted in that corner, there's no way for you to dig it back out. So Casey, doing a phenomenal job trying to pull that hog off that rail. Rail is just the side. I know lingo terms. But being able to pull it off that rail and truly get it in front of that judge's eyes. It was funny. Somebody said, I saw one of the comments on Facebook, they were confused as to why the judge stood so close to the stands during the hog show day. And what it was is he was leaving about 18 inches, 24 inches. He was seeing which of those young people could take their hog and put it between him and the fence. It gets really dicey. So it can go one of two ways. It can work in your favor. The hog can get up there and freeze up or lock up. But the ones that really could do it, they would go and they would set the hog in front of them and then walk behind him, because then at no point did they cloud his view.
Very, very interesting.
I'll say Andrew's starting to get the hang of it with that hog that he has, that red Duroc base.
Okay.
Then you have that more Hereford base that Reagan's showing. But being able to you see a wide variety of them behaving. Garrett's really working that animal he's got now, that belted. The belted sow, I can't see that far. It's awful. No. Belted barrow, I believe. But anyway, this is when they're going to start getting into some type of swing of things. So, again, maintaining that eye contact with the judge, never putting yourself in between the hog and the judge, And you want to keep that head up because you want it to not have a nice profile, a neat profile as it's walking around the ring. Especially if it's it's funny. We say, oh, well, it has a very feminine neck. Pigs can be feminine too. But it's being able to find those reproductive qualities that you want to long-term have in the next generation of market animals that you're having. See, Reagan just did a really nice turn on the animal she has. She's able to take it and flip it around, walk it back in front of the judge. That's a really nice skill, knowing that the other three are kind of clumped together at this point.
Right.
So it's kind of a race for attention at this point.
Gotcha.
And that's why I think it's so interesting that we have a set of siblings and then a boyfriend-girlfriend combo out there.
Okay. Yeah, I want to see what. So Reese, who we had on our show earlier.
Reese and Reagan are siblings, and then Reagan and Andrew are dating. I know, it's so funny. And all of them are friends. So you'll see them start to get, minor frustrations. They'll go around and give some advice. She'll go around and let them know how they're doing. This is definitely the time where you work these kids to their best ability.
Oh, yeah. And now how long will they go at this portion will they work this
It's
long?
just a standard class, 15, 20 minutes per class. And the judge is going to put as many different, I'm going to call them obstacles.
Now, why did is it over? They're all going in their chutes now?
So she's probably seeing if they can put them back in their pen and walk them back out.
Okay.
So she is going ahead, and I think she is placing them as she goes.
Oh.
And every judge truly does do it a little bit different. So they'll go through and give scores out. I don't know if they're going high or low this year. But the high placing individual, of course, you would get 5 points all the way down to 1. High score wins. Or if they're going 1 through 5, low score wins. And you can't have ties. And it dictates in our rules how the ties are broken.
So that's how it's scored. So she's going to score them, and for whatever they place in each heat or each class, they get that many points.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
And I can't remember if we're doing high point or low point.
Okay. So right now, did she place them? Do you think she did place them according to first through whatever?
I'm trying to look down through there. Based on what I'm seeing.
Is that where they started? I feel like that's where they started.
No.
It isn't where they started? I thought Reese did start on
Reese
the corner.
did start on the corner. But I feel like this middle two. Nope, they're back in their original pens. You're right. I couldn't tell between the two boys. They're both. So from where we're sitting, I can't see either of their heads. So I just see the gate.
Uh-oh. I got to look at something real quick here. Courtney. Oh, my gosh. Do you know? Did you already see it?
I did.
Oh, my gosh.
And I think a lot of people don't realize this, but those judges are still judging them while they're in their pens. So what she's doing right now, I think she might even be switching them. So you'll switch the exhibitor and the animal just so that the judge can get a better idea if the animal is having an off day or if the exhibitor itself is the one needs a little bit of extra encouragement. Yeah, that's exactly what she's doing. So Reagan actually caught a good break on this. So she's actually going to have the hog that Reese started with.
Oh, they're switching animals. Yep. That is a game changer.
And
just to see.
Yes,
okay,
you're doing this to see if it's the exhibitor being, having an issue or if it's the animal itself having an issue. And in this type of in this setting, you want to give them the best opportunity to be able to show off their skills as possible.
Right.
So a lot of times you'll see this in
I'm kind of glad she did that because my question was, there was two hogs that looked very calm in nature and easy to move around the ring.
And Andrew got the luck of the draw. He's now on that same belted that Garrett was on a little bit ago.
She wants to see, is it the animal or is it the show person?
They want to see that interaction happen.
Okay, I like that. To me, again, that's leveling the playing field out. So
it's funny. I keep telling people as they walk by, I'm like, "You're going to be next," so they keep shaking their head at me. And this is where you'll start to see the competitiveness of these showmen. Some of them will get a little bit more frustrated. You'll see them work a little bit harder, start to use a couple of the different tricks of the trade to get these animals to walk a certain direction.
Right.
These individuals, knowing that they were the overall winners of their respective species, this is where those tricks might pay off. So.
Wow.
And I've seen classes of 20 people where they're still switch. And it's notorious in lambs and goats and steers. Pigs are a little bit more wild, so, you know.
Right.
That's kind of the name of the game, is figuring out how to make that work.
So what's the science behind, or the strategy? I don't know if you call it a strategy. I noticed that last year a lot too, those red boards. Did the pigs see something in that, or is that just, it's not really, that has nothing to do with the color?
Nothing to do with the color. The color's a preference.
It's just, they do that because that helps to keep them out of the corners.
So pigs are kind of notorious. I don't want to say that they fight, but sometimes they get a little yappy at you. They think that one might have food or something, so they nip at each other. So the boards are used to separate either the animal from other animals or the animal from the exhibitor to keep them safe.
Gotcha.
I used to have a really bright green one, and it had like my name and a clover on it. But like the one that Mike has down there in the corner, it has the business name on it. I don't know why Stickles has a pink one, but you know, it might just be what we had left at that point. I'm just surprised I knew who it was standing down that far. So definitely a good time, good event. See, now you see where Reese has that, the white ears, Hereford looking, Hereford exhibiting, should say.
Which is what Reagan had earlier, right?
Yes. So now you can kind of see the difference.
Right.
And that's all playing into how this, you know, this is how Miss Rohr is using this to her advantage to see the quality of showmen that we have in the ring.
How each handles maybe the more difficult.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they've been showing for about 15 minutes at this point. So she is now starting to make some of these thought processes of, well, how do these exhibitors, how are they working with them? How is this one better than the other? Because at the end of the day, you know, she's going to have to make some cuts and decide how she wants this to play out. See, and now Andrew has one that's walking like a puppy dog. So that's the luck of the draw you get. I believe he has the one that Garrett was first showing. So it's interesting to see how they all kind of have those different traits.
Absolutely. Okay, they're all heading out with them, right?
I think they're heading back to the gates, yes.
And why did Andrew stay in?
Not really sure. Well, it looks like his hog is chewing on the back side of his pig whip. So, and it might be the judge told him to wait. So you never really know.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Here we go.
And as an exhibitor, him being able to have that ability to stop that animal and have it stand still and know what to do in that situation, you know, that might just add a few points on him to get him a spot above.
Oh, yeah.
And as we saw with Terry Burks the other day, he told all of them to drop all of their pig canes and whips and brushes and use just your hands. And, you know, having that skill to be able to drive them in different arenas in different ways, creating that, you know, composure to stop an animal as it's moving. You know, it takes a lot of different viewpoints of knowledge to get to the point that these showmen are in.
Well, I can honestly say I have no idea who should be the winner in this class.
Still too early. I have my picks, as always. But again, I can't pick between my children. Like, that's the hard part.
Exactly.
But what I will say is, I think all of these young people did an exceptional job, whether this is the species they won in or if it's one they just started. being able to see Reagan kind of straight out of the gate take that dominant and drive it towards the judge, or having that really smooth-looking gait with Garrett. But then again, as soon as they switched, Andrew picked up that.
Absolutely.
So
now, which one is representing the swine barn right now? Which exhibitor? Who was the grand? Was it Garrett? Swine, no. Swine.
It was Reagan, I believe. Garrett is representing goats. Reese is representing. I can text Judy.
Yeah.
And that's one of the best things. Reese Barrett is representing sheep. Garrett is representing goats. Reagan with pigs, and Andrew with beef. And of course, Miss Payne is representing dairy. So the exhibitors have just been called to ringside, so the judge has already made her decisions.
On this one? Okay.
They'll all get rehydrated, switch tools of the trade. The judge might be asking them some questions about what they're doing. Beth's doing a great job making sure these exhibitors keep hydrated. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure that they're having a great time just as much as we want to keep these animals safe.
Yeah. What does it look like they're getting
Steers. So they're getting out show sticks. So again, they're not going to show with their halters. So it's all a matter of what they get on the draw.
Right.
So some might get heifers, some might end up with a steer, somebody might end up with a cow. You never really know. And that's when that judge will trade again to make sure that everybody has an equal opportunity to show. It's funny, Yvette Board's at the bottom of the screen right now. She knew it. She would be hiding.
Is she camera shy?
Absolutely. She's over there talking to Christina and her mom. So as they're shuffling, you do see some movement coming out from the barns. It's funny, at the end of the barn, you can see that big open space on the left of the screen right now. You can see the steers and animals and heifers start to be brought out.
Yes.
You see them all go over on the approach.
How do they determine which animals will be used? Do you have to say when you get here you would allow yours to be used?
The chair people usually are the ones that are aligning these. And the reason for that is that chairperson has seen how that animal is going to interact. And they've kind of been looking, seeing, hey, is this one what I would consider bomb-proof? Does it have the ability to be taken in by anybody, any skill level, and still be shown successfully and safely? So this contest during the week was won by Andrew Bohr.
Okay.
You will see some of his skills start to come out. He actually just dropped and picked up a comb all in one motion.
Wow.
But again, very competitive because all 5 of these have shown cows at some point, whether it be dairy or beef. I'll say you start to see Andrew go in. He's kissing or blowing on his nose,
really?
trying to get those ears to come up.
Uh-huh.
You'll see him move his stick in a way, try to get those feet set. By the looks of it, I think all of them are showing heifers. But again, a very different variety of heifers. If you look at that one in the second slot, compare that one to the
big different size.
Yes,
yeah.
Angus or crossbred that Andrew has.
Does that create a challenge?
Show them all different.
Yeah.
So it was funny, if you would throw a dry cow, it would stand more square and it's tight, versus as a heifer is going to be a little bit more forward-footed. And of course, when you move into dairy and you're talking about milk quality, you're going to want to put that foot closest to the judge in front of its udder. That way the judge can see the udder alignment. I know there's a lot of technical terms tonight. I didn't even think about it. You got to be able to see it to judge it. That's the best way to say it. I'll say you see these showmen do an excellent job of maintaining that eye contact. leaning far back so that judge can get a good view of the animal. While the judge is not necessarily judging the animal, they are judging what the youth are doing with that animal.
Okay.
And you'll see them make different passes of different styles and get set up in different ways. And that's just to see what their knowledge of these species truly is.
It's so, interesting to see them go from like the hog, the swine,
yes,
to this category. It's like night and day almost in the way that the animal behaves and how you have to, manage the animal. It's very fascinating to watch.
And they do it so differently, and it's so drastic of a change. And even the style that we're showing. So these have more of an upright lean. You want that to show off the neatness of these animals and show them in their capacity. But you also want to make sure that your presence is there.
Right.
So maintaining that eye contact over the back of your animal, or knowing which direction you should be standing.
Sure.
It's a game of angles at this point. What angle should I be at to make sure that I have the best overall view of the animal that I can afford to judge. I'll say in this side-by-side view, you can really look and see the different placements of feet. You can see which ones look a little bit better than others. What they're doing with the stick. You can kind of, on the move right there, you can see that Reese caught that she was overextending the front end of that calf and then was able to pull it out and do a circle trying to get it to reset. Again, knowing the ins and outs of these animals is what these kids are doing right now. And you'll see him use the stick and hook to be able to move different pieces. Does not take a lot of pressure to get these animals set to where they are. Reese just took her hook and pushed down on the back of that animal to get it to drop into its back. All of those little tiny details are what makes that animal look as good as possible.
Do you recognize any of the animals that are in the ring by chance? Like, sometimes there'll be talk at a...
Yeah, like I know that Chelsea Lewis's heifer's in there. It's funny just being able to kind of look and gander and be able to tell. But again, that's all just of watching the show so many different times and seeing some of these kids bring different animals each year. You kind of get used to it, seeing who has what. And some of these animals have been through multiple shows, whether it be a jackpot show or a breed show. So some of these have been in the arena a couple more times than the others.
Now, would it be your guess that all of them are going to market or not?
All of these are heifers.
Oh, heifers, that's right. Okay.
All of these are using the breeding program.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm pretty sure.
Sorry about that. That was like a little bit of a...
You're allowed one slip of the week, and that's the one you use.
That's why I had to laugh this morning when at the TV station they were saying, the one gentleman said, well, compared Lexi being a novice to me being a veteran. I'm like, no, rewind that. I am by no stretch of the means a veteran.
But in retrospect, you are.
Oh, maybe compared to Lexi, but I even said, if Mikey Withrow would have heard you say that right now, he would bust out laughing. Because he is the true veteran.
No.
Not me.
Believe me, I make plenty of mistakes still.
I know enough to make me dangerous, I guess.
That's what I always say. I know enough to get myself in trouble.
Oh, yes, I've got Sweet Tea to the rescue.
You got Sweet Tea's coming in?
On me. You can walk in front of the camera. Thank you, sir.
I'm saying it's funny to see the crowd that comes in. So they've started, filling in those stands a little bit more.
Oh my gosh, yes,
and they'll come in. You'll see some come in just for certain species.
Oh, really?
So they'll come in and they'll see, if they were a competitor in the cow-calf class, they'll come in and watch it and see how they interact and how that calf does. And some of it's just to support kind of the general, for the good of the better, being able to support each other as showmen and as, friendly competitors.
And actually,
in the barn, and your sheep is one that
I'll say they're trying to make sure they have all of the sheeps and all the sheep and all of the goats lined up.
looks like the traffic is picking up outside.
It is. Now that we've finally gotten out of the rain and everybody knows that we're still up in business.
Trying to peek out, but I'm so glad the heat didn't return.
It's funny. We're sitting here watching people, and I'm recruiting them to come talk.
There we go. Oh, I like that shirt.
You can keep your tea.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she can probably give play. You guys could have a dialogue and just. I'll just be listening and learning.
Absolutely.
You'll be able to talk about it.
There's advantages to not being able to see what we're doing. Yeah. So we all have tea on the table right now.
Yeah.
But joining us, special guest Julie Snyder. She is.
Welcome back.
I'll say not her first time today. I don't believe on the radio.
Yesterday. She was here, yeah.
But definitely one of these exhibitors that have been in the species shows. This year, dairy, beef, hogs.
Yeah.
So she's been in it 3 times. What advice would you give to any competitor that wants to get into showing multiple species?
I mean, they're different. Every species is different. They all show differently. So for me, what I would say is just, watch and see how each species works and learn what you can and do your best. But be yourself. You can't do anything other than be yourself.
Out of the 5 species that are being shown for Val Robin, what was your favorite?
Oh, my favorite will always be dairy.
Always dairy. I say it's one of those that I always think that dairy shows are some of the more relaxed shows.
Yes.
And it's funny because you can even see it. Like during the day, yes, all of the species will help each other, but dairy kind of goes above and beyond. And I think it's since there's so few, we've just come to support each other in a different way that not all species have had to do.
Yeah.
And the dairy barn is a very accepting barn. So if you're interested in starting 4-H and you want to show a dairy animal, we have, 3 or 4 farmers we could call for that young person to lease.
100%. Always. There's always somebody trying to get them to start again.
I'll say, what was your breed of choice? I know this answer, but
I love my Ayrshires. That's been my breed since I started.
And a lot of times you'll see that as showmen, we do pick a breed and stick to it. So, like, my dairies were always Jerseys. And it wasn't, that we never had a dairy farm, but it was just the fact that I always thought they looked the best. It was kind of funny growing up. Like, I would be, great Jersey, great Jersey. Never lived on a dairy farm, but by golly, I was going to support them to the end.
I've always loved my colored cows. I will stick to Ayrshires forever.
I'll say, between you and Chris Knott and her brown Swiss, something wrong with y'all. I'll say, so in the ring now are coming lambs. I'll say, Julie, did you ever show a lamb?
I did not. So. My brother always did, but I never got into it.
And you'll see a variety of getting coming in versus this Suffolk type U versus this the natural color coming in behind it with Garrett. You'll see different characteristics of how they show. Reese just realized she made a mistake, so she's trying to get that turned around. Garrett's, again, not playing favorites. This is going to be a tough class based on how they walked in.
Oh, my goodness. So doesn't look like it's faring well for Garrett.
It is not. So, and again, we saw it last with pigs. Some are more, I know, you gasping, I'm like, they're flopping. But Casey got a pretty good check on that one. So hers walked in. You can tell a showman has years of experience because they can walk in with one hand under their chin and it'll follow along. And she's also done a really good job. She might be overextending it in that front shoulder just a little bit. But again, that's a preference. So it might not make it look as perfect, but the fact that she's able to get a good brace and has those feet set will get her very far in a lamb showmanship competition. I'll say, Julie, if you had to pick, I know which 3 you showed, but if you had to show a goat or a lamb in today's competition, what would you pick?
A goat.
No.
I used to show goats.
No.
When I started with goats and moved up to cows, so I would pick a goat every time.
Quite the jump. Quite the jump.
It was.
Do you have one single showmanship experience that you can remember from your past? That, a highlight, funny story?
Oh, yes. So it was the year that I won Grand Champion Dairy Showman. We got to the final round and we had to switch because I had a little calf and the young man with me had a huge Jersey cow. And so we switched and his cow pushed me around the ring the whole time I had a hold of it. I have pictures of it, and some of those are my favorite pictures.
It's funny. I always thought, I can remember 2 times that my lambs ever got away from me. And I would say, dairy was very high up on my list, but lambs was my favorite. There was only 2 times it ever got away from me, and they were always in showmanship. It never failed. If it can go wrong, in showmanship it will go wrong.
Always.
If your dairy cow is being used for the round robin,
And it's funny because there is a wide variety of styles and types out there on the ring right now. So being able to know and effectively put those animals where you want them and in the stance that you want them, that's really where you're getting the knowledge of these kids.
Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, serves as the Lancaster County 4-H livestock judging team coach.
This one could get interesting because I believe all 4 out of the 5, with the exception of Andrew, have shown showmanship for lambs.
That's why I think it's fun to watch this, because there's some kids in there that have only shown 1 or 2 animals, certain species before,
Yes.
and they come in here and they do really well with animals that they probably never touched.
And this might be the experience that gets them that kind of access into another realm of diversified livestock agriculture. I'll say they're starting to get set. So this is where you'll see some style points come around. Reagan kind of has that lean back, legs not as long. Garrett is unfortunate that he might be one of the tallest ones in there, so he's got to put his legs out far enough to get a good brace on those animals. And even Andrew, who necessarily doesn't show them as competitively, doing a phenomenal job of that judge awareness and keeping that animal looking its best while the judge is on approach. You will notice that some of them are doing different techniques. Reagan right now, I'll say we just switched camera views. You can see it with Reese. The way she's holding that head, being able to keep a hold of it and make that animal look the best. We see Garrett giving it a good fight, but it does not look like his animal wants to cooperate during this event. Julie, what is the fondest memory you have of the Berkeley County Youth Fair?
Oh, I have to pick just one?
Just one. If I have to pick one winner, you have to pick one memory.
That's a hard one.
Or one memory to wrap up your 4-H career. And we're not crying on air, so go ahead and get it out.
I've already cried enough.
We've got a lamb loose.
It always happens. There's always one. I'd have to say for the fair, my favorite memory from the fair was being the first year dairy showman and not knowing what I was doing and having those older members come and just help me out. And that's a year that I'll always remember.
Uh-oh. So this guy just does not want
Yeah,
to.
we got one that's going a little crazy.
Now, again, how does that – is that going to affect his scoring or the judges' perception?
So knowing that these kids are not showing their original animals, I'll say we about saw Caleb get taken out by the side there. But the judge probably is not going to hold this against these kids.
Right.
Just for the reason that they're not the ones investing the time throughout the year. And again, Julie said it, it's bound to happen during a sheep show. Mm-hmm. The best of the best lose them every once in a while.
Well, I'm glad that would make me sad.
I don't know. They're still good. So it happened during a transition. So the judge is still switching. So the judge actually pulled, I think, Reese and put Andrews with Reese. I'll say Reese just got both of them. I know everybody's cheering for Reese. But a lot of times these animals, they are herd animals. So they want to be together, and that's the tactic that they just used to make sure that they were able to secure that animal.
So she brought hers in to.
Yep, right up alongside of it, and you can reach over and grab it with your other hand.
Nice. Teamwork.
All right, Julie, you've been watching for a couple minutes. Who is your pick for lambs?
Oh, it's always hard because there's so many of them out there that have shown lambs before and are just so good at it. But for this class right now, I'd have to say Reese would be.
I'll support that decision.
She's very good all around with the sheep.
I was saying it's funny. You can see Andrew applying some different techniques, and it's not that he doesn't know what he's doing. It's just he's not conditioned. As, Reese, Reagan, Garrett, who, even Casey, who just came off of these shows in the last couple of days.
And Andrew has always been a cattle guy.
Yes,
so
through and through.
Doing something without a halter is going to be a little different for him.
But I will say he's got really good handhold right now on that head. Trying to make sure that you have it. He knows that degree in the neck is an important piece of it.
He definitely did his homework before he came in here.
And you can tell how confident he is by having that one hand under the chin leading it. I say we've got two with hands behind, and that that little black sheep is giving a fit to even some of the best showmen we've got. And we've had some questions about, and Reese just did it. She gave it a tap on its back to make sure that it was moving. That is a normal part of making these animals move in the ring. And it's not any type of, anger. It's not type of, correcting. It's just to get them in motion. You'll see a little poke or a prod. Now we see Garrett starting to act up. You'll see him reach back and lift up the tail head to try to get it to move forward. Again, all common practices, all safe practices, keeping the animals' welfare at the forefront of this event. And it's amazing to me to see how much these judges work these individuals. And they're going to tire out, but you have to think they're going through 5 shows in the matter of 1 hour.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. But you almost have to do everything you can with them just to see how they act with the different things that the judge might be asking them to do. Because somebody might brace better than another one walks. You have to look at all of that.
It's funny to see how the placement, like the feet placements change. At first that little U that is seen in the middle of the screen kind of was pigeon-toed. It wanted to keep its feet out. Now it has it curled up. It's all a matter of how these young people will push those buttons. And like we said at the beginning of the broadcast, being able to know and read those different changes of those animals to get them to set up how you want, it truly is a game. This would be, and again, I call it a sport, and I stand by that. Showing is a sport.
I agree.
Thank you guys for doing such a good play-by-play there. Thank goodness they can't see me right now as I squint and look at my computer screen. I don't do as well with my glasses. Without my glasses, I have my contacts in. But when you get my age, you have to wear multifocals.
You're telling on yourself. Nobody would even have told on you.
I am trying. Well, I thought I'd make this announcement just for the air. I'm working on a graphic to let everybody know that everything is still on tonight, even though we had rain. However, there's just a little delay down at the track.
Getting everything
set up. So the mini tractor pull required a little more work on the track itself. So instead of 6 o'clock start time, about 6:45, 7 o'clock-ish time frame. And then the event that was to follow, UTV side-by-side flat tracks, will still happen. It probably will just be a tad bit later as well. So that's what I'm working on really quickly.
I say we still see Reese fighting with that U that she's got.
I have to say it's funny because every year when I used to participate in the mini tractor pull, it rained every year.
It's kind of a notable thing at this point.
It just happens, but it wouldn't be the fair without it raining.
Agreed.
At least once.
And you need it, really. I mean,
it
does really help, right? You guys are doing, a great job of play-by-play. We just got a little notice I got a text from our producer and the station owner, Mr. Mike Cornby, and he said, great play-by-play.
I'm telling you, I'm going to make sure I fill in my, what is it?
Yeah.
I-9 send to them.
Send him your W-9.
Yeah.
Yeah, or your 1099. That way you can. No, just kidding. But in all seriousness, it does help the viewer at home. It helps me. I'm learning as you all are telling me what the heck's going on out there. And honestly, what the judges kind of get in the minds of the judges to know what are they seeing, what are they thinking, is that good or bad? Because the things that I thought would be bad when the animals are losing control, I would be so worried, like, oh, it's going to go against them. But it's good to know you guys, have confirmed that that's not the case.
I'll say so. We're going to move guests now. So we thank Julie for her broadcast.
Thank you. Who you got coming in?
I'll say that's what I'm looking. I'm trying to scout who's coming in next. And that's the beauty of the county fair. Being able to have the amount of people, amount of participation, their willingness to come and jump on air.
We're going to go ahead and start with
I'll say they're getting ready to start with the dairy portion. So that is what Casey won in this morning. So she's had the least time to prepare.
like we have for the others.
I'm saying you'll see them start to pull those animals in. And again, you have to keep in mind, these animals just showed this morning. So we're not bringing in fresh off the track. We're bringing them in after they've already been through the ring.
Mike Hornby says, give Mikey a raise. I'll double what I'm paying him now.
See, I figured he would.
Let's see if we can get a push notification on this too, and our BCYF app. Let's see here, edit.
I would say, my mic fell down a little bit. You can see this nice class of heifers coming into the ring. Again, these ones are all very similar in their type and makeup. They might be representing different breeds, but they're all going to show about the same. So now I'm going to call in Miss Michaela Willingham. So she's going to come over and she's going to talk a little bit about these dairy classes with me. I announced it, so now it's got to happen. They can't see you, so you're good. I'll say, I promise she brushed her hair today even, but she's going to come in and talk to us a little bit. It's live, so don't breathe into your mic. So, Michaela, we're watching it on the screen. You can see them out there. How would you say that, because you showed dairy, correct?
Correct.
What breed did you prefer over any?
I always showed Jersey.
A fellow Jersey kid?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I know there's none of them in the screen right now. So they can't see her hands. Leave her alone. But, it's good to have the amount of representation of different breeds in the barn that we do. Knowing that there is only 3 production dairies left in Berkeley County, to have over 40 exhibits truly, is a testament to them carrying on the legacy of dairy.
Yes.
Was there any tips or tricks that you used while showing dairy? Pull up on the throat latch a little bit, make it look a little more feminine?
Yeah, when they have a little extra skin down at their chin, you kind of want to pinch it, make it tighter.
Oh, wow.
That makes them have more of a dairy quality about them. I always had fun, try to smile. I just loved making all the memories I could in the ring.
And you showed in Jefferson County.
I did,
so
correct.
you're coming,
Wow.
I don't want to call you a transplant, but you're ours now.
I guess.
But for us, dairy was always the calmest of the barns.
It is. It sure is.
And it's one of those things where truly we talk about kids helping kids and adults supporting them. You could walk back there, and if you had animals coming back for multiples in a class, it would be nothing for me to be like, hey, Michaela, take this one. Hey, Julie, take this one in. And they would all do it flawlessly, and they would show it to the best abilities as if it was their own animal.
Yep. Everybody is like one big family. Everyone's willing to help each other all the time. And everyone knows everybody. It's like one big community that's just... It's
one of those things that's kind of a dying art. A lot of people don't realize how connected a lot of our young people are, and the best part is it makes them even better advocates, not only for our our organizations, the fair, but for our community in general.
Correct. Mr. Hornby wants to know, are dairy cows easier to show than beef?
No. I think they all are. They're all so different that you can't say one's easier, one's harder. You will definitely get lucky. it's funny. So when I showed dairy, you were very aggressively walked backwards.
Yes,
yes. Versus today, where you have more of a sidestep sidewalk. I have to say, Reese getting a tough break on this class.
Oh, yeah.
Again, these are not the animals. I'll say that's an interesting side profile of that one. But it's definitely interesting to watch how they interact with those animals, knowing that they're not necessarily theirs.
Yeah. That was probably the hardest part about showing dairy, is probably learning how to walk backwards and know what's going on behind your back, because you never know if there's a cow that's acting a little bit crazy, kind of like what Reese is doing right now.
She's giving her all. I would say it got away.
Uh,
And dairy animals are typically, what you said, easier or harder. They tend to be a little bit more calmer, I think, than beef animals. And the reason for that is the goal is to get milk from these animals in the long run. So you're interacting with these animals 2, if not 3 times a day just through the milking process. Of course, none of these animals in the ring right now have went through partition, so they have not started any type of lactation cycles. But, they still are getting fed. They're still routinely watered. We still have to, veterinary care. I'll say Reese is pulling, she is doing the best she can. She did not win the luck of the draw on this one.
No, she did not.
And, of course, you have Reagan, very calm demeanor. She's out there. She's kind of showing it as if it was a beef animal. Garrett's giving it his all. I would say he's a little kind of pulling forward a little bit too much. You want that dairy head to a little bit more up, not out.
Yeah. That's one of the best things about Round Robin, though, is that you get to see how other showmen of species.
Right, what was happening just there when he pushed his tail?
So on any of the bovine species, if you twist the tail head, it makes them go forward. It'd just be like if someone was pinching you under your arm, it makes you go forward.
And did she just need a little help?
Yes.
Okay.
So her calf doesn't want to walk forward. So Andrew's passing her in hopes, again, herd animals. So he's hoping that by letting her go forward, this heifer will continue to move.
Great. Yeah, when you curl their tail like that, it helps them walk a little.
In theory, I should say, because Casey is not wanting to cooperate regardless of what's happening around it.
And that's another thing that's hard with showing dairy, is that you have to teach them to walk very slow. They can get very worn out, I wouldn't want to say. They're
just like humans. I mean, if you think about it, these animals were in the ring for 5 or 6 hours this morning through different classes.
Yes.
So being pulled in for a second show.
They're probably tired and stressed out.
If they're anything as tired as we are.
Yeah. So they're probably giving their all right now, but I think their all is very low.
They're trying their best, and their best is not the greatest right now. And again, you even see showman Colby Linton just jumped in there to help with her. These exhibitors are willing to teach and willing to educate. We've said it many times, if you're interested in joining one of these youth organizations but don't necessarily have the opportunities to house these animals, don't let that be the reason you don't show. We have wonderful farmers in the area that will let you lease animals. These are primarily for the breeding programs, but you got to start somewhere.
Now, can you explain to me how that is allowed? Like, why did the judge not? I mean, it's okay for somebody to just jump in the ring and help push the cow.
Yeah, for this type of event, it's a safety issue. So you want to make sure, even with Reese, here shortly, I wouldn't be surprised if another showman got in that's just more comfortable with that animal and something that has a relationship with it.
So is that his?
I would be guessing that is a Linton cow based on how smoothly we're now operating now that he's out there.
So that's not, I mean, that was just done, like, that's a normal practice.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely. Gotcha. And Colby comes from one of those. I know now he's standing there. He wouldn't if he knew the camera's on his back. But the Lintons, they are one of those families that were in the dairy industry for so long, and just recently have they gotten out of the dairy industry and moved to more primarily beef and grain crops.
Wow. And how many did I hear the other day, just 2 dairy farms
2
in
or
the
3.
county?
I thought it was 3, but it might be 2. I'm trying to count. And it's becoming I don't want to say a more acceptable practice, but a lot of farms are selling out because they can get higher prices for heifers at market than what they can get for keeping them long-term and milking. I know the Dunhams just went through that process of releasing their cows and all those different things.
So if farms like that are becoming almost extinct in our county, where are all of the dairy farmers in the world?
That's a great question. We wish there was more, but it's never, it's one of those things that's kind of the ebb and flow, and it kind of gives us that general question: how do we plan to feed the world in the next 50 years if all of our farmers are moving out?
Right. It scares me.
And what it takes.
Concerns me. I don't want to say
it does. It
Concerns
scares me. I will be the first to say that. And that's kind of where we are relying on that next generation of agriculturalists. Michaela is a great example of that. What her and Tyler are both doing to promote agriculture. Michaela raises pigs and she sells them to FFA and 4-H members, whether it be for the ham, bacon, egg projects or the fair. Having that resource that you can send kids to as a 4-H agent especially, that's huge. Knowing where they can go and get quality stock and not, I don't want to say cheated necessarily, but get what they're paying for. That always at the end of the day, I'm always forever grateful to have those connections. And, growing up and showing with Tyler and knowing Michaela for an extended period of time, for me, it's like, oh, let me brag on my friends. Let me say, yes, the kids are paying for them. Yes, the price of animals are going up.
Right.
But in today's world, the price of everything's going up.
Sure.
So being able to stay sustainable and being able to do it in a positive way, it is that is a dying factor alone. But being able to be surrounded by a group of friends and that are supporting it and supporting it on so many different avenues, is truly remarkable. All right, Michaela, before we switch classes, what was your favorite ever showmanship story?
Oh, my.
So I always tell mine, I had a lamb get away from me in the final drive of showmanship.
Oh, wow. That's horrible.
Worst lamb I ever had, but it was one of the best memories. Ashley Butler and then Samantha Martz beat me for overall.
Honestly, they all blend so well together because every experience is, just very happy to me.
Yes.
So,
even when you lose, it's a good day.
yes, it is, because you learn so much, and you always add that to your next show.
All right, Michaela, I know speaking is not your favorite thing to do live, but I appreciate your time and willingness to come join us.
No problem.
I'll say if you see anybody else, throw them this way. So we are getting ready to start. The first couple of goats have entered the ring, and we already have one that got down on its 4 knees. You'll start to see, yes, I was going to say, Reese is doing a phenomenal job during this whole event. But I'll say, so it's funny, I'm getting messages. So Colby's dairy cows are leased. So it's essentially what you would do is you would contact a farmer that does have cows and say, hey, can I lease an animal to show? And you would essentially either pay a fee, an amount of work, or something to kind of have the availability to show. I'll say this is the part where they start to get a little bit more serious. They realize what they have to do.
Yeah.
And especially, we're in our last kind of rotation.
Okay, so after this rotation occurs,
Yep.
what will happen next?
They pick a winner.
Oh, I mean,
so they'll
now,
tabulate scores.
Will the showmen all come forward like just without an animal then, and they'll call them out in order of?
This is only the second time we've done it. So to be honest, we are still learning as we go.
Gotcha.
But usually they would take the animals back, and the showman would. I have judged 2 of these events, and I always like to ask them a general question about livestock or agriculture or some aspect of 4-H.
Now, is that just a oh, gosh.
Again, completely normal.
Okay.
Goats were never my favorite. You'll start to see a little bit.
These all look similar, like in what type of goat
yes.
are they? Okay.
So they're all bull or boar crosses. I mean, what you'll notice is some of the showmen not to call him out, but like Casey's trying to brace that goat like it's a lamb.
Okay.
And you can kind of see she does have knowledge of the species, of course.
Right.
But this is where you can definitely see Garrett Glassford, who has shown these animals routinely for the past 6 months, kind of interact with that in a whole different way.
Yeah. Different styles. I can see it. Yes.
Again, none of them doing a bad job.
Nope.
It's just knowing the ins and outs and different little tips and tricks to make it successful. I've always liked watching showmanship compared to confirmation classes, just because it's always interesting to me to see how that showman changes and, you know, the changes that they make on the fly to make it a successful trip around the ring. And again, they're all starting to do a little bit different things to get them ready.
Right.
So it would, some of it would come down to if you know you're showing a doe versus a wether, knowing the programmatic purpose of these animals, because you do show them a little bit differently. So a doe, you're not going to brace as hard if it is a little bit more of a mature doe. You're going to want to expose that femininity over the front end, and you know what, you want it to look clean and concise versus some of our more weather dam type animals out there.
It looks like she's talking to Garrett right now.
Mm-hmm. And again, that interaction with the judge is what you want for these type of upper kind of level showmanship opportunities.
Well, do you think that she will, in the end, explain her picks? And
Yes.
Okay.
So a judge always gives reasons after they pick.
Yes, reasoning. I remember that. That was it was all those things that were foreign to me in the
I know. So
during
different,
the
right?
pandemic. When I was like, you would say, okay, we really need to play the judge's reasonings, and I'm like, why? You know, like I didn't get any of that back then, but now
the
I totally
reasons
do.
a judge gives can truly make you grow so much, even if it's overnight.
Right.
So she broke it into 2 lines, so now she's trying to see where they're setting up, how they're setting up, getting that best look on that animal. She's going in and working individually with them. She's asking the questions, you know, if there was something you could change about these animals, what would it be? Andrew's looking around, looking at the different animals, figuring out, you know, maybe it needs a little bit longer just in its loin, or maybe it needs a deeper leg. And Andrew's very fortunate that he has been on the livestock judging team.
Oh.
So adding, I'll say, 4 of the 5 of them have been on livestock judging teams. And the other one has been on the dairy judging team. So it's not necessarily one above the other. It's just figuring out how to add those components and build those building blocks to get them in the best looking way possible.
Makes sense.
I turned around and Reagan was flipping sides there. The thing with goats is the halter that they're using, the chain is open in the back. So you have to keep it upright behind the back horns so that it doesn't slip over their ears. So a lot of times you'll see some of our younger exhibitors using a different type of, you know, device. But they use usually a lamb halter.
Okay.
Versus a little bit more of our experience in using a single chain or a bit chain. And these are a completely different type of chain than what you would see at a national show. And I think knowing your tools of the trade is just as important as knowing the animal. So a lot of times if you're showing, you know, bucks over does, you might need a reinforced collar with spikes or something to get their attention a little bit more, especially as the does are going in and out of heat throughout different cycles. I'll say Andrew's still getting a different break. Garrett's collar just slipped. So as much and as prepared as we would like these showmans to be, he's still fighting with that collar to get it around its neck. Again, not a bad thing, but it's how you recover and how you start to interact. Dropping a chain or losing the animal doesn't necessarily drop you to last place.
Right.
But how you decide to overcome it truly can change what you're doing overall.
Right. I've noticed that. It's like she really pays attention when they have an unruly animal to kind of just get that feeling of how they're responding. Not so much, I mean, they can't help that part. it's not their animal to have worked with or maybe
Yes.
have prevented that. So
And during a normal showmanship, they would have that advantage.
yes.
Supply and a gift, which is a hanging show box, which is given by Friends of the Fair.
I'll say they're announcing who sponsors the awards, so we must be getting close to wrapping up this second annual round robin showmanship.
So exciting. So do you, I don't want you to say it, but do you think you know right now?
I'm about 94% positive.
Okay.
Hey, Ella, come here. Ella Collis. All right, so pulling random people in. Ella, have you watched these showmen over the years?
Yeah.
So, comfortably looking out in that field, who would you say is going to take us home today?
I'm thinking either Andrew, Reagan, or Garrett.
Andrew, Reagan, or Garrett. I'll say you pick 3 out of 5. I hope one of them. That's not bad odds. I will say, so have you showed multiple species? I know
Yeah.
you showed pigs and goats.
And cows.
And cows. So what has been your favorite experience in showmanship?
Probably winning reserve champion intermediate showman with pigs last year.
So what does showmanship teach you that confirmation classes don't?
Probably good showman, like being nice to others and just helping people out and focusing more on your animal even though it's on you.
Yes. Even though you're the one being judged,
Yeah.
keeping that animal. Of the 3 species that you've shown, what is the hardest for showmanship?
Pigs.
I agree. Sometimes just controlling a pig, it's like trying to get a wet noodle back through a colander. Like there's no good way to go about it. But truly, again, a remarkable showman coming up through the ranks. I found it interesting that you it's hard to pick when you get such good showmen in the ring.
Yeah.
I'll say, is there any advice you would give younger showmen if they were interested?
Definitely do what you want. The best thing to do is just stare that judge down.
I'll say, I've preached eye contact so much that is a great answer.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of judges, they toss you once you break eye contact or once you go in between that animal and them. So, hey, I think it's solid advice.
Okay, what's happening?
So they are pulling to the middle of the ring, and I am going to imagine that they're either going to ask a question or they are ready to crown a winner.
Okay.
Based on the fact that Beth has a mic, they're answering her question.
Introduce yourself, what organization you are representing, and how many years you have been showing.
Hi everyone. My
So
name
first
is
we have Reese Barrett. She's representing the Spring Mills FFA as well as the Scrabble Scramblers 4-H Club.
And I've been showing for
She
10
has shown
years.
over the course of 10 years, and again, she's shown all species but dairy. Garrett Glassford, he's representing the Scrabble Scramblers 4-H Club, or Mount Airy Winners 4-H Club. He's shown for 6 years, and again, shown everything but dairy. Last year he won 3 out of 4 species, so he's back for some, honors and rights. We have Reagan Barrett. She's representing Spring Mills FFA again. She's dual. She represents Scrabble Scramblers as well. We have Andrew Bohr. He's representing Hedgesville FFA. He's been showing steers and heifers for about 6 or 7 years. And then we have Kelsey Payne. She's representing the Hedgesville FFA. She's kind of new to dairy. And again, that's one of those people that we've kind of been able to put her with a mentor and kind of let her grow through the program. And Bess and Daniel Lang have done that for many of our exhibitors in the dairy realm.
Well, let's go ahead and put our hands together for this great group of showmen. It's actually not often that I judge a whole show and don't give remarks until the end, so this is kind of fun. It's my pleasure to be here, and it was great to
to work with all of you. We had some things happen right that weren't planned, but that seems to kind of be life recently, right? Things that are just happening and not planned. But for me, I think there was one showman that definitely just rose to the top. And I would just encourage all of you to continue on with your career, your showman career, and after that, whatever you do with your career, keep growing, keep learning, and stay calm in times that maybe don't go as you see or as you expect them to, because that just happens in life. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and shake the hand of our champion showman of showmen.
Again, not a contest that I would want to judge.
So she's going to shake the hand of the winner.
Yes.
Wow.
You know, they're all kind of tracking her down.
Let's go ahead and congratulate all of the show committee folks and the fair for putting on this event. It takes a lot of time and effort to put something on like this. And let's go ahead and put a hand together for your parents.
Come on.
Right? They're out here supporting you and your family. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and put the mic down and congratulate our champion showman.
Wow.
I know, they're all starting to turn around and look.
Which direction is she going to go?
Same intensity it was during the beef show yesterday.
Oh, really? Gosh. Drum roll, please.
So I think they are waiting on the prize, maybe?
Oh.
So they're going to go out.
They're waiting on Mr. Youth Fair? Yes.
Reagan Barrett.
I picked her. They were all fine, but I just was, I'm proud of myself.
Really cool. So Taylor Barrett won it last year, her cousin, so this year is nice to pass that on.
Showmanship winner is Miss Reagan Barrett.
She's just calm, cool, and collected. That's my three words for
intense.
her.
Intense. She is a very intense showman.
Focused.
All of our participants this evening, you guys did a great job.
Very focused. Great job. All of them, my gosh, were great.
Yes.
Ted doesn't take anything away. I got excited just because I got it right. I kind of felt like just the way she managed every heat, she was just...
Hey, and there is nothing wrong with that.
I did not see her get nervous at all. She just exuded confidence the whole time. So we're probably, our camera is pointing in the ring right now, so we're not going to turn it back around. We're going to throw it to a commercial break. I'd say we'll go ahead and take at least, we'll do a 3-minute break, come back, and we'll just see if we can get a couple of the winners in here or the participants. We'll do another interview, but we might take a little break. We'll see what the studio wants to do. But we don't have, the next event is not, that closes us out today, is the Parade of Champions, and that's not until 8 o'clock. So we'll come back with a game plan after this 3-minute break.
A reputation for caring, a legacy of service. At Brown Funeral Homes and Cremations, it's been our story since 1880. A family-owned business, we support the needs and wishes of families. We offer traditional services, as well as many options for cremation, customized remembrances, and pre-planning. Brown Funeral Homes and Cremations retains its family atmosphere and stays true to its roots. Contact us for advanced planning, or at your time of loss. We're here when you need us.
Hi, I'm Jocelyn Perkins. My father, Jeremy Perkins, is the owner of CBP Enterprises, LLC, which is a third-generation family-owned business serving the tri-state area for over 50 years. If you want a hardworking, trustworthy, honest company who can help with your landscaping, asphalt maintenance, seal coating, and parking lot line striping, you should contact Jeremy Perkins at 304-671-9057. West Virginia, contracting license number WV009596.
Black Draft Distillery is the first grain-to-glass craft distillery in Martinsburg since Prohibition. When visiting, you'll be able to experience farm life firsthand and see the on-site crops being grown for our own Black Draft Distillery products. Black Draft Distillery is located at 2878 Dry Run Road in Martinsburg and is open Fridays from 4 to 9 p.m., Saturdays from 12 to 9 p.m., and Sundays from 12 to 6 p.m. For more, go to blackdraftdistillery.com or call 540-686-0100.
If you you or someone you know suffers from the disease of addiction, help is available from the Berkeley County Quick Response Team with peer recovery coaches and support promptly to the homes of those who've recently experienced an overdose. This collective effort towards recovery brings resources and services to the community, including naloxone and treatment options. Call 304-267-1313 or visit the Berkeley County Recovery Resource Center, 400 West Stevens Street, Martinsburg. The Berkeley County Quick Response Team is funded through a DHHR grant with the Berkeley Morgan County Health Department.
Providing reliable protection since 1877, we are Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies. For over a century, we have maintained our dedication to our policyholders to provide dependable insurance protection and excellent customer service. Protecting everything from your home to your business has never been easier. Our team is here to ensure that you, your family, and your assets are taken care of. We enjoy being a part of our local heritage and supporting the Berkeley County Youth Fair. You can trust us to protect what matters most to you. Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies. Go to fmiwv.com.
Hi, this is Cliff Hess of American Eagle Structures. We have great Amish quality and great prices on our sheds, gazebos, horse barns, garages, pavilions, pergolas, whatever you need. We can custom order to meet your specifications. I've been serving the four-state area for nearly 20 years in the Amish shed business. At American Eagle Structures, we honor our military, my fellow veterans, our first responders, and our families with a discount. We offer site prep and free delivery within 30 miles. We'll meet your every need. Call American Eagle Structures at 304-821-4150.
All right, we are back live at the Berkeley County Youth Fair, and we just saw an incredible show, Mikey, didn't we?
We did, and this is one of the newer events that we've brought into the Berkeley County Youth Fair. These round-robin events truly do put the best of the best against each other. And, you know, they've shown, in many different times, they've shown multiple species, but rarely do we ever get to see them switch off so quickly.
Yeah.
It's very different to see them, how they react in their conformation in single species classes versus how they interact kind of now.
Yeah.
So it's always an interesting time that, you know, we afford this opportunity. This is becoming an up-and-coming thing to have this master showman or overall round-robin showman. But it's becoming the kind of the standard to be able to have them show multiple species and be successful.
Right, right. What do you think was the edge for Reagan tonight? Now that it's over,
Calm
I
demeanor.
know you had. Okay, I was going to say.
Yeah, Reagan was definitely in the top picks for me. But you know, Reagan brings such a calm demeanor to everything she does. Fiercely competitive. She knows those animals inside and out. But being able to bring that into one package and having the knowledge that she does. Kind of does put her on a bit of a pedestal when it comes to these different events. So I would say, here comes the winner now.
Comes.
I know we'll have to adjust the camera.
Yes. Can we get a camera adjustment so we can bring in the winner?
So we're bringing in Reagan, hot off the backdrop.
All right, congratulations.
I'll say she even brought her belt buckle with her.
I was
so
hoping,
you know it's
I wanted
always
to
good.
see what that looks like.
So Reagan, tell us what it feels like to just win round robin showmanship.
It's been a goal I've been working for as long as our fair's had round robin, and it's a privilege to be able to be in the round robin, yell and win it.
Yeah.
What do you think was the hardest species to show out there today?
Probably swine, just because you can't really predict how someone's hog's going to act, and once you get one that doesn't act very well, it's very difficult and challenging, and you have to be able to keep your cool and keep calm while the hog's going crazy.
Right.
Basically.
Absolutely.
And I noticed that judge was very, I don't know what you would call it in judging terms, but the fact that she did a rotation because she could see the challenge that some of them were presenting. She didn't do that with all of this species, just that one in particular. So they must have been extra feisty tonight.
Yeah, they definitely were. There were like 3 that you could get them out and get them driving, and then there was 2 that just wanted to go back to the barn.
Right, yeah.
I'll say, and after such a long week, that does not surprise me one bit.
Yeah.
What would you say, what advice would you give to younger showmen who see this and want to be engaged with it? What would you encourage them to do?
Never give up. Just keep working with your own species. If you have friends, work with their animals too, because round robin, you're not given your own animal.
Right.
So it's important to know how to adapt to any animal you're given. And they're going to be, like, if you're used to working with steers, you're going to be given a calf. You have to know how to get that stuck. And same with pigs. Down-ear pigs are a lot different than pigs with up ears. And you just have to know how to adapt to different animals and push yourself harder.
So would you say that's how you prepared, was you did work with friends' animals and you went and tried to do as much of that as possible?
Yeah, I have 2 sisters, so we alternate with animals. We each have our own animals, but then in the barn, if one's being stubborn, we're like, hey, can you try and get this one stuck because I can't? And learning the differences in animals, some lean on you, some don't. Just being able to know how to fix those difficulties that each animal has.
Now, which barn did you come in representing tonight?
Swine.
Swine. And so yet that was your most difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think swine is one of those things. It's the hardest of those 5 because it doesn't have a halter.
I agree.
Like, it's the unpredictability of these animals. You know, I'm always interested to see the scorecard because I feel like swine is what makes or breaks you in these types of contests. And it's for no better reason of you don't know those animals, you don't know how they're going to interact.
Right.
And you can't control them. I mean, taking a haltered animal or even with lambs where you can put your hands on them, you have a higher level of controllability with them.
And I think swine, each pig acts different to a whip. So some like hard pressure, some don't like pressure at all. And you have to find that pressure point to keep those animals driving and happy and comfortable.
Right. The first swine that you had seemed to be more accommodating and allow you to do a lot of nice, like Mikey said, a lot of nice sweeps through the ring. When you did the rotation, how was the second one?
She was ready to go back to the barn to the point where she wanted to bust through the gate.
Yeah.
So
what was then your approach to that?
Just trying to get her off of the gate, but also not make her too mad. Because the more you get aggressive with them and the more you push them, the more mad they get. So the best thing is to just try and drive them to the center of the ring and let them do their own thing and kind of back off on the whip and keep them just moving and gliding on their own.
It makes me wonder with these animals, when I watch you show, you have such a confident, calm demeanor, almost as if like you did not allow any of the animals who were, you just kept your focus and I would, you know how they always say, like with an animal, they sense the demeanor of a person. Like someone will say, well, that dog knows you are a dog person or whatever. They know that they sense the love that you have. So I just wonder if those animals that you're showing, they all sense that, what we saw on the screen, which was you and that really focused, calm, confident, like you weren't going to let it, throw you. So, I mean, do you think that is that something you've strived to do, or is that just your personality in general, or?
Being able to look poised and calm while you're showing, I think, is a big part of showmanship, because if you look angry at the animal, that's the first thing the judge senses and the animal can tell.
Okay,
so being able
the
to
animal does sense
keep
that,
yourself calm, keep the animal calm, and make yourself feel confident, because when you look not confident, then the judge doesn't feel confident in your ability. So just being confident and calm is the most important.
Well, you really do a good job of that. Yeah.
And, Reagan is one of those members that truly is able to turn it on and turn it off. So not only does she excel in the ring, Reagan, can you tell us a little bit about your job interview skills and what that's led to?
So this year, I was representing our FFA chapter at state convention.
Spring Mills FFA.
In the job interview contest. And you're given a set of judges, you apply for a job of your choice, and then you have to go into an interview, have a phone call beforehand, and a follow-up letter. And I think it was important for me to find something that I was very passionate about. So I applied for something with livestock to be a herd management position at Transova Genetics, because I'm really interested in animal genetics, and that's kind of where I want to go with my future. So I found something that I was extremely interested in, and John Boyd, I was able to work with him last year, so I had that on my resume, and I was able to really focus my resume towards that interest and go in there. I was the youngest member to compete, and somehow I won.
I know, she says, like, somehow
I won. I wonder how.
So what does that mean for you representing, like, how did you represent your chapter at state?
So there is no regional contest for that, and there was 3 members from our region, Jefferson County, Washington, and us.
Okay.
And then there was 5 other, they were all girls, actually, that competed. And so there's only 1 round of that contest, and it's the only CDE with only 1 round. So I went in and I competed, and then I had to wait 2 days for results. And then once we got results, we found out that now I get to advance to national convention in Indianapolis.
And you did. You went there.
So she will represent the entire state in the job interview.
Okay.
This
year?
Yes.
So
okay,
this
but wait, fall.
Last year you were in a national competition, weren't you?
I was
so
in Creed
that's what I was thinking
speaking.
about. That's what it was. Okay. Yep. Wow, you're so accomplished. Mr. Hornby wants to know, do you give showmanship lessons?
Any kid that is looking for help, I'm glad to help them. There's a bunch of little kids in the barn this year that have come up to me and, can you help me with this? Yeah.
Aww.
I love watching little kids help. And you can tell, like, the nights before when you're practicing in the ring, which kids really are looking for help or looking for someone and are eager for it.
Right.
And those kids are the most enjoyable to watch. There's little kids that are, like, 3 or 4 that I also help, and they're wild, but it's a lot of fun.
Yes, wildly fun.
Let's see your belt. Buckle.
I'll say.
Not belt, buckle, yes.
See
and
the
will you
hardware.
wear this, or will you put it in your, like, trophy case?
I'll probably wear it to jackpot shows and the fair
Yeah.
because I show pretty much year-round.
Yes.
So.
And
That is something.
You were talking about you know, going out and above. I think that's one of those things that, you know, regardless of which Barrett girl I talk to, it's such, you know, for me, like, it's prideful to be able to see you all, knowing kind of the backstory and knowing how you involve Taylor and all those different components. You know, livestock truly is your passion. And being able to see your passion and be able to see all 3 of you excel in it.
Right.
So knowing that this is only the second year this has been done, and the last year's winner was Taylor, do you think that this legacy will continue next year? Will Reese be able to bring it home?
I think so.
Yes.
Okay.
Honestly, this year I was thinking it was going to be between me and Reese because we're both, like, the most diverse in livestock. And I'm honestly kind of shocked I beat her because she beat me in lamb showmanship, but I think she'll be able to do it.
All right.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
So next year when we do this, I want you over here. That way you can commentate on what Reese is doing.
Okay.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, tomorrow, what are you what are you bringing for as your market animal?
Consigning.
Oh, consigning. That's the word.
We're going over
Okay.
terminology.
Okay.
I'm learning. Okay. What are you consigning tomorrow?
I am consigning a market steer.
A steer. Okay. So we'll be looking for you in that and wishing you the best
Thank you.
return on your investment. Are those words
Now
correct?
she's just putting words together. But, yeah, those were all the right
Help
ones.
me out, Mikey.
I'll say,
Okay.
is there any shout-outs you want to give to you while we have it on here?
Yeah, absolutely.
My family and all my friends that supported me. This wouldn't be possible without my parents because they support our livestock career 100%.
Yeah.
And they take us to the shows and help us get better. And my sisters for supporting me through this all. And being able to be in the ring with my sister was something that I didn't ever expect the 2 of us to be in round
Right.
robin together. But it was an incredible experience.
That's awesome.
I can only wait to hear we were talking a little bit to your dad and talking about the drive home and how it was after competing. I can only imagine what this conversation is going to be tonight.
I don't know if she'll let me ride in her truck home.
There will be somebody to make sure you get home, Reagan. Don't worry about that
I
one
thought I
bit.
saw Taylor here to watch you
Yeah,
as
she
well.
was
So
here, yeah.
maybe she'll give you a ride home. The 2 champions, and
Poor
then you'll
Reagan.
and then Reese, she will she'll be fine. That gives her something
She
to
can
work
follow
towards
you
now.
home. Just do
Yeah,
that.
there you go. Well, I think we're going to take a 30-minute break now. Not sure what we have in store for you back at the studio, but I know they have something. And we are going to come back just a little bit shy of our final live event of the night, which is going to be the Parade of Champions. So you'll be getting ready for that. You'll be
She will
bringing
be
out
in it
the
a lot,
swine.
actually.
Or you have several to
I
bring
have
out.
swine and I have lambs.
How does that does that ever go back to back so quick that you have to have somebody helping you shuffle out your animals?
I don't really know if my lamb's ready or not right now, so I guess that's what I'm going to go do.
Okay,
she's going to make it work.
Yeah, we'll let her go do that because that's 30 minutes away. So we'll see you back here in about 30 minutes for the Parade of Champions.